Welcome to the live stream. We're about to kick off the show. Give me just a second here. Oh, shit.
People so surprised I wear shoes in bed. It's wild.
Hey, Street Fighters, welcome to the show. Glad to have you here. As always, we are live. It's Sunday night, time for a street fight. We are taking your calls tonight. 614-412-5252 is the number to dial. We'll be answering them to the very early morning. We need your small business tyrants, quitting stories, DARE officers, military recruitment, or anything else you'd like to share with us. Activism, things you're getting accomplished in your community. This weekend we were actually at the DSA Brake Light Clinic fundraiser, so thank you to everyone that showed up to that at the summit. We had an amazing group of bands: Gown, Pink Reason, Birds Vegas. I can't remember all of them, I apologize, but Sunset Widows, and Marvin the Robot. They donated items to raise money. The DSA went and hung flyers up today, and then October 6th we're actually going to be out there changing brake lights, and I'm going to be out there for a couple hours flexing my brake light changing skills, because that is something I can do. Because when you go to the oil change place and they're like, we'll change it for $29.99, I'm like, aren't those bulbs like $6? Like, I can't pay that much to put a bulb in. So thank you for showing up, checking us out. My name is Bret Payne. My co-host is Brian Quimby. We're Street Fight Radio, the #1 anarcho-comedy radio show on any station across the nation. We've been doing it for 7 years. We do it the best. We do it on WCRS Community Radio out of Columbus, Ohio. 92.7 or 98.3 if you're inside 270 here. You can listen to us or check out streetfightradio.com. You can find links to more shows, bonus material, get updates on our live tour, and also them Gumball shirts are being pre-ordered right now. So if you want a Gumball shirt, head over to Street Fight Radio.
Oh,
I'm not selling anything. I'm just saying the pre-orders have began.
okay.
So thank you for being here. I got to figure this out real quick.
Thank you for being here, Brett. Makes it easier for me to do the show when you're here, right?
There it is.
How's it going, dude? How's it going? How you feeling? How's your weekend going?
So far, so good. I got to relax today. I woke up and immediately watched the first Deadpool movie.
So now that dark cloud that was over the show, being that only one of us has seen Deadpool, has been lifted.
Yeah.
Now it's two Deadpool fans.
Yeah. Two Deadpool fanatics. I was thinking that we could make a shirt that says, like, Deadpool plus Deadpool equals Street Fight Radio, and then have each of our silhouettes in like a Deadpool outfit.
Couple of Deadpools.
Yeah. This is just like hanging out with a couple of Deadpools.
Yeah. Listen to this show where you can hang out with two Deadpools.
Yeah, I loved it. Those other corny-ass comic book movies don't show people's heads getting sliced up. No one gets shot in the butthole. No arms and legs get broken. The carnage of that was so good. Especially because I grew up on, like, Out for Justice and, like, Bloodsport and, like, Jean-Claude Van Damme. If you fought him, he's going to break your bones.
Yeah.
Right? Steven Seagal breaks bones.
That's how you defeat an enemy.
Right. It's the quickest way to get him out of the fucking way. You're trying to get somewhere. Someone's in your way. Just fucking break their jaw in your hand.
Yeah. That's how you defeat an enemy, by breaking their bones so they can't fight you anymore. This whole, like, punch them in the head so they pass out thing is not... That's not how things happen, man.
No, that's not the world.
They'll just wake up and take over the world again. I'm having a tough time with the new comic book movies because the Struggle Session guys have ruined them for me, actually, is what happened. I listened to their show, and they pointed out how they spend most of their time just talking in rooms. And now every time I watch it, I'm like, God, why are they sitting in here in this room talking?
Yeah, that's what I liked about Deadpool too, is that like there was no serious dialogue. Like there wasn't like CGI characters that were like trying to be like win Oscars and shit. It was like everybody, he was just cracking jokes the whole time. Nothing was fucking serious. And then we got right back to the cutting people apart.
It's the same thing as liking wrestling in a way. It's like, it's honest about what it is. We were in a conversation with somebody yesterday about that and at a party, and I was just like, I mean, I like it because it's honest about what it is. It knows what it is and who it's going after, and it caters specifically to them. You know, I like honest entertainment. You know?
For sure. Yeah, I mean, I would prefer to take a stance on like you know, what this is going to be. You know, I mean, Deadpool, he has to work on some of his race material.
Well, it's white guys writing a movie and
right,
trying to be edgy, and you know, it's kind of like I was watching Mayans this week. There is a show on the Chapo bonus feed where we talked about our me, Will, and Felix talked about our feelings on it. But there was a scene where they were like hanging out and just shooting a shit in a hospital room, and it just sounded like a bunch of people playing Cards Against Humanity to me.
What do you mean?
It was just
like,
they were like being gross,
but they were saying like abortion out of nowhere. And stuff?
Yeah. It was basically like, oh, give this guy a sex change.
Oh yeah,
and it's just like, that's not funny. You know
right,
what I mean?
Right.
But it's like there's a lot of people whose only engagement with comedy is just saying the grossest thing. You know, there's a lot of people with like, you know, when I tell people that I do a podcast and they ask about the kind of comedy that I do, they always want to let you know, like, you know, some people say some pretty crazy stuff in comedy. Like, we were, like I said, we were at a party yesterday. My dad was there, and he was like telling somebody, of course, he's a boomer, okay? So don't get on his case. Well, you can get on his case, but he's a boomer, and he was talking about the movies that you need to have in your collection.
Oh,
you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
I love this. I'm excited already.
These are the DVDs you have to add into your collection to be a real person.
It's like the Quimby Criterion collection.
Yeah.
The Quimby collection.
Well, here's the thing, dude. I would love to say this is a thing that's unique to just my dad, but it's like all dads of that age like these certain like movies. And he was talking about Airplane. Like, that was the movie he's talking about. Which, by the way, I'm talking to my wife today. I'm like, Deadpool, there's no way Airplane works in 2018. And it's not. And my dad said the famous, should be a boomer, like mantra, like their main line. Oh, there's a lot of jokes in that movie you couldn't do these days.
Sure. The good old days. Yeah. Right. We call black people Jacksons.
Yeah. So, like, but yeah, it's like, I think Airplane doesn't work just because the humor's corny now. Like, nobody wants to see joke after joke after joke after joke. And, like, you get...
Oh, I do.
Oh, really?
Dude, the part when he says, don't call me Shirley, I love it.
Oh, okay. Well, if that's what you're into, everything just changed in my headphones. Like, there it is. But yeah, I just think that, like, I just think that kind of stuff, I feel like it doesn't work anymore. You'll have 500 jokes in this movie, but 496 of them aren't going to land.
No, you just keep rolling on the floor laughing.
That's what they did back then. They were just so shocked. It's like, wait a minute, they just did a joke. Because if you watch a movie like Animal House, you're like, where's all the goddamn jokes in this movie? This movie's not funny at all. And like, because when I watch,
it's just somebody having fun is funny to them. Like they were so repressed.
Yeah. Well, I assume that maybe I would love to have my kid. Maybe I should have my kid Gwen watch Old School, which was like a big fucking deal of a movie at a period in my life where it was like they will never make a movie funnier than Old School.
Right.
And I haven't seen it in years, so I don't know what it's like now, but I wonder what she would if that kind of comedy could even work now.
We're gonna do some testing. We need to use your daughter as an experiment.
We need to make sure that we need to show people that even our like sacred cows get destroyed by youth. You know, it's like
that's fine.
I love it.
I
think
want
it's
their
great
stuff anyways.
Right. I was talking about how I a long time ago had Gwen watch Gwen and my niece Zoe. Sat them down to watch Naked Gun thinking they were going to love it. And I was embarrassed within like 5 minutes of that movie because like not only were they not laughing, but I was like, this sucks.
Yeah, I mean, comedy isn't something that holds up for very long. You know,
No.
the wind changes so quickly.
Oh yeah,
And like, what's sarcasm was big, then it's irony, and then all the sarcasm just looks like, so they're just saying stuff they don't mean, you know, or
Yeah.
like they're just
Well,
being mean for no reason.
and a lot of those like Airplane, like that was another thing that was like, this is just like we're performing comedy in a movie, and like
I love that though. I respect the hell out of it.
But yeah, I mean, you like musicals and stuff too. Like, you have
True.
a way better ability than most people to go back and appreciate things from the past in a way that I just never did. My dad like recommended Animal House to me like 100 times, and I finally watched it, and I was like, that movie sucks. Like, there's nothing good about that movie.
My favorite, seriously, the movie I think the funniest of all time is Fletch with Chevy
Yeah,
Chase.
I've tried.
And I would love to do something that good where it's just some like loser floating through all these people's lives and wisecracking them the whole time and not giving a shit. It's like Deadpool, right?
Yeah. Deadpool's like that. Yeah.
I love that. I don't mind. I really love mile a minute jokes. It's like, keep them rolling. Let's see how long we can chain this thing together. You know?
Yeah. It is.
And the stupid shit too. I love like this. Like I said, Don't Call Me Shirley is like is fucking great for me.
Ham on 5, hold the mayo when he's answering all those phones.
Yeah,
and he's
yeah.
like saying all these crazy things like that. When I watch that, it doesn't connect with me. It like really is one of those things in those early movies where like it felt like they were just like they sat down and they wrote like 500 jokes and then wrapped a movie around it. And it like, it's the same thing that I have when I watch stand up now. It's like, this is just jokes. None of this is like, there's nothing to this. It's just jokes. But I know, I'm not bad mouthing people who do things like that. Like stand up, I think is fine for a thing for people to do. Just when I watch it, it just looks like, this is just a guy up here just doing prepared jokes. No fun for me,
Wow.
Yeah.
You're a downer. So
I
you
am
don't
a
think
downer.
people should just yell their thoughts, their brand new thoughts that come into their head into a microphone?
That sounds right to me. I also think,
don't prepare.
like, I try to think about what I like in comedy because I just watched that movie Tag and wasn't super into it, but I was really excited to watch a big budget comedy. Right? Like, because I like just haven't seen one in a fucking 100 years. I haven't seen a big budget comedy in forever because it feels like they don't make them anymore. It really does. Like, I can't think of the one before Tag that was a huge thing. And, it was okay, but it just didn't resonate with me. I just didn't feel like I was getting a lot of laughs, Like,
Sure.
I don't know what it is. It's like a part of me is like, I want something that wasn't supposed to make me laugh.
Yeah.
That's what I like.
Yeah, you prefer to just watch something bad and it's funny because it's bad.
Yes, exactly. Like that, like a lot of the TV and a lot of the movies I watch and love are bad.
You're a destroyer.
You can put it like that, but at least I'm like when I don't feel ripped off when I see those movies. Like I feel like I'm paying for what I like, and what I like is bad,
Right.
Like I like bad writing. I guess I can't really figure out why, but it's just I've gotten into this mode where
you want to reward ignorance. You want to reward the most unself-aware, ignorant people to keep making art.
Yeah. Well, that's true though. We've talked about this in the past about like, I want people to write, like regular people to write, and I don't care if it's bad, and I would never like, I don't care if it's bad. I just want to see their opinions because I feel like there's a lot of really funny shit and a lot of things that happen that don't ever get captured by film or television or book because people are afraid to like put themselves out there. Like regular people don't have like a voice, and they're kind of afraid to put things out there. It kind of ties to history in a way, even where it's like when you read history books, the reason everybody believes in like that great men of history theory is because the only people that were able to write books were the great men of history. Sure. And like that's why the people's history of the United States will always blow people away, because it's like, oh, these were people that were like not real cool with it, These
were the people that were standing on the sidelines while these fuckers blew up their whole towns and shit.
Yeah, but how many fucking crazy people, like how many people did you hang out with growing up that were genuinely fucking hilarious in a way that you've never seen captured?
Right.
And you're just like, oh, why can't somebody capture that? Because I'll belly laugh at people. There's a guy named Rob that I used to work with back at the cable company. I genuinely think he's like the funniest guy I've ever met. He was like, you know, he wasn't like classically trained. He wasn't doing jokes. It was just the way that he said things always made me fucking laugh, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, I know.
So I don't know. I don't know what it is. It's like, it feels like, I guess when it comes to being funny, if I think you're trying, then it's almost like, I can do without that. But, you know, I'm trying. So
you wouldn't like yourself?
I don't think so. I'm in the minority though, you know? But I like a lot of podcasts like Doughboys, I think is a really funny show. And I know they're trying to be funny, but I also get a vibe that they're not trying. Like the things that they say, like they make it seem like they're not trying to make people laugh, but they are. They're definitely going in there trying to, but that's like my favorite podcast, you know? So there is a way to do it that makes me laugh. It just doesn't feel like, you know, it just doesn't feel like Hollywood is going to make that thing that kills me now. Mm-hmm. I just don't think it's possible.
Yeah. I'm a man of the people. I like what gets regular people going.
Well,
I like to be right in there with them.
Yeah, you like Tyler Perry. You like see all of Tyler Perry's movies. You'll sit and watch it all. I mean, I like Kevin Hart. Me and my wife were just sitting and saying, like, why can't they get Kevin Hart and The Rock in another movie? It's like, what's going on here?
Yeah. I'm sure it's happening.
Yeah. But, yeah. So why don't we got a call that we have to take, right?
Do we?
Well, we have a bunch of calls we have to take, but let's, did you lose that piece of paper I already gave you?
It's under your feet.
Oh.
Sorry about that, folks. Got a piece of paper here, quite important. We got to feed the paper into our machine to get the calls coming in.
It's the file. That paper is actually the file. It's like a microfiche from one of those movies.
All right. Who's our first call?
You got him on there?
I'll get somebody on here.
It's the first person on the sheet.
Oh, the first. Okay, I didn't know what order I'm supposed to do this in. I'm using this mouse, too. Using two computers, folks. If this is the first time you've listened to the call-in show, you should know I operate two computers while I'm doing this.
I don't operate one. I just use my phone because I am a man of the people, and men of the people look at their phone all day.
Oh, now it's a competition?
Yeah.
You gotta watch something more than the dude bro shit, dude. You gotta be a man of the people.
I don't watch
you
just
watch
dude
stand-up
bro
comedy
stuff. I don't watch just dude. Well, I do. Mostly what I watch is macho bullshit and the British baking show.
Yeah, that's a great show. That show's like therapy.
Bret's like, well, now that's something, okay?
Well, that show's great. It's like that is like the best vibes on any reality show I've ever seen. Like they are just so cheerful and willing to help each other, and there's no like conniving or like hair getting pulled out or any of that shit.
Yeah, no,
they like help each other. Like someone like, oh, I noticed Meredith was struggling on her cake, so I went over and gave her a few of pieces of mine, you know. So
last night we watched one, Bret, and one of the challenges was pizza, and these British people,
they don't know shit about pizza. They're that close to Italy and don't know shit about pizza.
They were like, well, I don't eat pizza. What is it? Just bread with tomato sauce and cheese on it?
A crisp with ketchup on it?
And I was like, yo, you guys got to learn pizza over there.
Yeah,
what do you get when you're hanging out with a bunch of people?
Let's move to the UK, open up a fucking real New York pizza joint.
Real Columbus, Ohio
pizza, sorry.
Open up a Donato's over there.
That's a good idea. Franchise. No, we just steal the recipe and take it over there.
I'm telling you, you open up an Ohio-style pizza place in New York, and it's in Time Out New York, and in the 3 weeks, people are like, what in the heck is this? Is the best thing I've ever seen.
Yeah, you and your buddies can scrape together enough money to get a huge pizza. You all get like 18 slices.
They're like, New York pizza. This pizza we've been eating for years is old. This is a disgrace.
Yeah, they've revolutionized pizza.
They figured it out in Columbus, Ohio.
All right, let's get these folks on the line. Thank you for calling Street Fight. Who are we talking to?
You're talking to Aubrey Citizen. Hey, boys.
Hey,
Howdy.
Aubrey, what's up?
Not much, man. How are you?
I'm okay. I'm feeling good. I ate a Cliff Bar before we went on the air. I usually get sick when we record this show, And because of kratom and getting high and stuff like that, I just really mess up my insides when we record. So, and it's a hot room. So today I'm feeling good because I ate a Cliff Bar.
Do you always get all high before doing your shows?
No, he's not at all. He just fronts like he does.
I'm sober right now. Well, I took kratom. I haven't smoked any weed yet. I usually wait a little bit. Before I go on stage, I get high on stage. Like, I wait until we've gone through the first big bits of the show, and then I'll hit my vape pen while I'm up there.
Do you work that into the bits?
No, I mean, but
yeah, he usually hands it.
Like, that's the punchline?
He hands it around to people usually.
Yeah, it's what it is.
It should be like your shucky ducky quack quack.
It kind of is. No, what it is when I was a kid, I went to a concert, Cypress Hill, 311, and Farside, right? And
Good Bill.
Farside smoked a huge bong on stage while they were up there, and nobody else did. And when I left, all I cared about was Farside. Like, I was like, that's the coolest thing I've ever seen. So now I'm like, I'm going to be the Farside. You know? I'm going to smoke weed on stage.
Makes sense.
I'm surprised that Cypress Hill didn't smoke a big old bong. Wasn't that their thing?
I was surprised that they didn't smoke any weed on stage either. Maybe they were just, like, because, you know, maybe getting high in the green room before and you get out there and you're like, I don't really need anything, you know?
No, that's not a common thought amongst weed smokers at all. Nope. I
Yeah,
would never
just enough.
think that.
That's how I am. I'm like, I'm high now, man. I'm singing. I'm doing some raps. I'm feeling good about myself.
Yeah, you gotta get higher, baby.
Yeah. Yeah, Bret is a very...
shoot the moon.
Bret is a very, like, just keep getting high. We did a live gig on Friday, and he smoked a joint before, and then we had these punk bands playing between the sets, but they only played for 20 minutes. And then he would get hot. He would smoke more weed during the bands and then come up. And I was like, how do you do this? I blank when I'm high.
No
I
stress,
plateau at
dude.
a certain point, right? I plateau. I get, I don't know. I get full high. I can't do any more.
I do too. I think everybody does. Bret just doesn't care about it. But
Yeah.
Bret has also said to me in the past, he was like, you don't get full high. You can keep getting higher and higher.
Yeah.
He doesn't believe in that.
Heck, do you not think that full high exists?
I don't think Bret thinks it.
No, I mean, I guess I do. If I keep doing the same thing, but I can up it. Like, I can always get more crazy, I feel like.
Yeah, he smokes a bunch of different. Like, Bret does every sort of delivery system of
That's also
marijuana.
true.
Like, he smokes it, he vapes it, he eats it, he does tincture, he does dabs, like all in one, like every day, like goes through all these different methods. So I think maybe you don't plateau when you keep upping it like that.
I think that's the thing, man. And I don't think you can. I don't think there's a plateau if you're doing edibles. I think the sky's the limit there, man.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, when you ingest it, it gets way out of hand, and it doesn't really
It's
like
something else.
stop. It just will. I mean, if you do too much on edibles, it just gets too uncontrollable.
Well, I quit edibles.
It's a real good way to ruin your night.
Yeah.
Man, I just started doing dabs because we do in Dungeons and Dragons. A friend of mine got a dab set up, and so I can only do one and like be able to function at Dungeons and Dragons. It
love
is my favorite shit. Yeah, dude, it's super clean.
And it lasts for like 6 hours. That's the thing is what I love it because when I go to my weed guy's house, he's always like, "You want a dab?" And I'm like, "Hell yeah!" Because then I don't have to smoke weed for the rest of the fucking day.
Yeah, dude, and
it
comes on kind of easy too. When I take a big old bong rip,
Bullshit.
I feel like my eyes are like spinning around in my head, you know, and I like it. But like,
No, the other day I got one. The other way I got one, and my eyes were sparkling. Like, it was a lot. It was a lot.
I don't do bongs or edibles at all anymore. I'm like done. I'm done like testing my body. I did that. I've done all the body testing I'm gonna do, and now I'm just like I like to just get a little bit stoned. That's like my whole thing now.
He's like he has a roach clip with a feather on, and he just takes one tiny hit.
I'm the dad that drinks a beer and a half, but still gets down with everybody at the
That's
party.
true.
You know?
Dude, that's a real nice thing about 2018 is that you can just there are enough delivery mechanisms and they're measured out well enough that
True.
you can just get a little high, man. You can eat a 5 milligram gummy after lunch every day and just be a little bit stoned. It's perfect.
I like it. He's after lunch, like specific time when he eats his gummy.
That's what I do. After lunch, I have lunch and I eat a little gummy, and if I eat it on a full stomach, it absorbs slower, so it's kind of just like a more mellow high that lasts longer. I have a gummy and a cup of coffee, and I'm ready to just to tackle the rest of that day, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, just to say, like, I try to keep it pretty mild throughout the day. Like, I just want to not be stressed, but I don't want to be confused and shit. So, I mean, during the day, I'd keep it. It is a very small amount that I usually go with. Like, I hit the corners of my bowl. You know, I'm not like clearing it every time.
Well, the only time me and you hang out during the day, though, is when we're on tour, and you're a different human when we're on tour than you are when you're at home.
Yeah.
We both are. We're both terrible for our body. Our touring is bad for our body.
We did all right this time. We got
When are y'all gonna come be bad for your bodies out in Los Angeles with me? When are we gonna be bad for your bodies together?
There's a wrinkle in this thing.
Well, let me explain the wrinkle for all the West Coast people. We want to bring our families out there. My daughter has always wanted to go to LA. It's the only place she ever talks about. It's like, if I don't get her to LA, then I will. You know how like people are like, if I don't take my kid to Disney World, then I'll feel like a failure as a parent. Mine is LA. Okay. Like, she wants to go there.
Disneyland is near LA.
Yeah, but she wants to go there.
Baby.
She wants to go there and eat like charcoal ice cream and like do what all of her vloggers do. You know, like all the like. I don't want to say hip stuff because it's definitely not hip. It's like all the Instagrammable stuff that you can do in LA. That's what she wants to go and do. And so we want to bring them with us out to the West Coast. Plus, it's just like, you know, my wife especially, but even Bret's wife too, like they deferred a lot of vacations and dreams and things that they wanted while this happened. And we want to pay them back. But I can't pull my kid out of school for a week. Yeah. And vacation days are hard to come by. We are sort of tentatively looking at Christmas, the week of Christmas, the 26th through, we'll be out there for a week. So we are looking at that, but my wife is going to have to try and figure out if she can get it. We are coming to the West Coast. We are dumb if we don't go out there at this point.
Do it. Dude, Christmas in LA is a hoot. Because it's so fucking nice, and there's palm trees everywhere. It's a trip. Like, it still kind of trips me out every year.
My dingus wife will probably be like, I don't know if I could do Christmas if it's not snowing.
Yeah. Do you see what happened with Christmas with the Cranks? Yeah. They tried to take a trip. It did not work out.
Well, Bret's wife's the same way. We just have like super traditional types of wives that are
cis-het normative.
Yeah, and they're just so traditional in that they're like, they want Christmas to be, and it never fucking snows here. It never snows.
It does.
Does it?
It has recently, yeah.
Oh, okay. I mean, I don't remember it snowing a lot here for Christmas. Like, through my life,
my wife writes like poetry about it when it happens and shit, you know.
Well, I think that shit melts away in the California sunshine. You can wear a T-shirt on Christmas Day.
Can we make a big pile of mud and put a carrot nose on it and a little beanie cap?
What, in LA?
Yeah.
There's no water for mud. That's the first thing. There's no water at all.
Yeah, there's no water there, by the way.
It is an arid wasteland.
We do Rock
It's beautiful. You'll love it.
Are you love it? Do you love LA? Do you like? Because we know that you moved from Virginia. We talked about that on the third show.
Yeah, so I grew up in Virginia. I grew up in Richmond, and when I was 18, I moved to New York. And I lived there for New York City. I lived there for 11 years. And I moved out here in 2012. Bro, I adore it out here.
Better than New York?
100%. Yeah, man. I lived in New York for it took me 6 years just to even be able to tolerate New York. Just 'cause it's so much and just so aggressive all the time. And I got to the point where there are things I really loved about it. But then when I moved out here, it only took, it took until February when I realized I could go outside and my body wouldn't hurt immediately because of how cold it was. And man, I think I'm getting kickbacks from the LA tourism board apparently, but I think it's all the good shit about growing up in Virginia, right? And there's space, and people are real polite and friendly, but also it's this big, crazy, cosmopolitan city with lots of shit going on, which I didn't have when I was growing up in Richmond. So, yeah, man, I think it's fucking great. And my wife's from New York, from Queens, and so it was a tougher sell for her. But even she goes back to New York, and she's like, oh my God, this place is dirty and loud and filthy and crowded, and I got to get back to California immediately.
My feeling is that it's kind of going to be the same. Like, the way I think about LA now is that, like, Brett and I talked about this privately, but I was saying, like, people in LA don't have to suffer through bad weather, and that's why they're so like, hey man, hey, because I always had a vibe that they were too laid back and stuff.
They're space cadets.
And they don't go through anything. But, like, now when we go to New York, like, I love it there. But I think it's mainly because our peers are there. Like, we can hang out with a bunch of people that do basically the same thing we do for a job, that, you know, maybe a little different. Yeah. And that's where I have a lot of fun.
New York is great to visit, man. New York is great to visit, man, but it's a lot living there all the time. And it gets worse, too, just because, I mean, I don't know, everywhere gets worse.
Right.
For
well,
all the same reasons, right?
You hear so many people complain about L.A. being like this place where everybody's full of shit and they just talk about work all the time and all this stuff, but it's like, have you ever been to, like, Washington, D.C.?
Yeah, dude, it's the same shit everywhere.
Yeah.
I'll say this, though, like, people warned me about that when I moved out here, because they're like, oh, you know, you're from New York, you're New York, you're an East Coast guy, and you're real, and you're not gonna like how fake all these people are. Let me tell you something. I love how fake all these people are, because like, I would rather, like, people talk about, they're like, oh, you know, in New York, people, you know, they'll tell you if they don't like you, you know, and they'll just let you know right up front if they don't like you. Why is that good? Well, just be polite to me. Just be nice. Let's just, like, get through this social encounter. Even if you fucking loathe me, like, let's just, like, not make this any harder than it actually is. And I agree, dude. It is because of the weather. There's, like, 2 weeks of good weather in New York, like, spread out across the entire year. and like, so people are miserable. They're angry. They just get in those bars. They're just ready to fucking fight somebody because it's so miserable outside. LA, I tell people there's a lot more to like about New York. There's a lot, like, numerically, like, more things to like about it, but the weather in LA, it counts for like 20 or 30 different things, and it impacts everything. It's hard to be pissed off all the time when you live somewhere that's so fucking nice.
Yeah. So you just got a comic out just now, right? The history. Say the name of it.
We're 1 week, 1.5 weeks away. It's a comic book story of professional wrestling.
I have seen parts of it. I haven't got to see the whole thing, but I will say this to the people that are listening, especially if you're into wrestling. This is a good book. I have read Aubrey's work, and I read all of your G.I. Joe stuff that got you in trouble for being an SJW.
Yeah.
Why did they? I still think about the fact that, like, it was so cool that you turned that, like, what you did with that book, and it sucks that they got you kicked out of, you know, it sucks that whatever happened, you know.
They were so mad. Like, I don't know, I have enough distance from it now where I think it's funny too, but it's bananas just how, like, just ballistic these guys went over, like, and they still bring me up and, like, talk about me, and cause, like, you know, with the whole Comicsgate thing or whatever, but, like, the stuff that they bring up, they're just like, I can't believe you turned Salvo, right? Like, I don't know if you're a G.I. Joe. If you're a G.I. Joe fan, Salvo is like a D-list G.I. Joe character, right? He's nothing. And we changed him. He was like a big, muscly white guy with a lot of guns and a shaved head and a T-shirt that said, "The Right of Might."
Okay.
And it felt like that's a lot, right? Like, that's, I don't know. Like, that's like very, like, alt-right vibes. And so we changed it to, like, we modeled her after Nia Jax from WWE. And we changed her to this big, muscly Samoan woman, and she's amazing. And those guys just went apeshit, bananas about it, man. Like, they just couldn't even, I don't know, it set something off in them. It's wild.
It's weird that, like, the comics world seems like about once a week there's a bunch of right-wing people freaking out about something. And, like,
it's constant.
It's interesting. It's also interesting to me, though, that it seems like Marvel and DC and even, well, a lot of indie comic people are writing more, like, diverse stories and stories about different kinds of people. And like, but there's this, just like the rest of the United States, you know, there's tons of people that are ready to move forward, but then there's this like small group of white men usually that are just trying to keep pulling it back. And like their argument generally boils down to, I wish there were less women and people of color in these comic books.
100%. That's 100% what it boils down to. And like for me, there was the added wrinkle that I'm a pretty lefty dude, and those guys certainly don't like that, right?
Well, and it was G.I. Joe. I think like the thing about it was I can guarantee you when they announced like a relaunch of G.I. Joe that a bunch of right-wing people got really amped and thought it was going to be some right-wing shit, because I mean G.I. Joe is like so easy to do right-wing, you know?
Yeah, it's wild though, like because the guy who originally wrote all that Marvel G.I. Joe stuff, Larry Hama, like he's not a leftist, but he's a pretty like he calls himself like I'm gonna butcher it if I try to say it, but he's like a liberal progressive guy. Like he's a vet and everything, but like he wrote all that stuff. If you read it, like it doesn't read like crazy right wing propaganda. But I think that because of the military aspect of it, it did have a lot of expectations from that crowd. Also, I think that it's the same thing that's happening. We see it happening in any fandom, right? Where you've got these guys, and like you said, they're mostly white, mostly male, mostly a little bit older, and for however many years, decades, right? This has been their little fiefdom, right? This has been their little domain, and they don't, it's real similar. Like it's real similar to. I mean, it's not real similar. It's the same fucking thing. These guys, their lives suck, right? Nothing's going right for them, and they feel like, oh well, at least I have my straight white male power fantasy superhero books. At least I've got that. And then when they see other stuff coming in, and maybe the things that they like aren't getting enough attention, it just kind of like, and there are guys, there are agitators out there who latch onto that, and they do their crowdfunding campaign. They're grifters, man. They're con men, but not like cool grifter con men like we like, right?
Yeah,
They're guys who are monetizing these like very like reactionary preferences for comic books, and then they're monetizing it through their crazy Kickstarter and Indiegogo campaigns.
Well, and there's a lot of people out there that probably don't remember this, but really it wasn't that long ago that like they were going to have Donald Glover play Spider-Man, and people fucking freaked out. Like, and it got him taken off the movie. You know, they were like, nah, never mind. We're not going to do this. And it's that world. I like the people I have now found myself, with knowing, I know you, and I talked to a few other people that have done stuff in the comic world, and like I know that there are very progressive people there, but it feels like a place that's very like it seems hard and slow to move towards more representation there, and it feels hard.
Yeah,
you're dealing with the general public fandom, and there's people that have all of these ideas about these characters that justify all of their like bigoted thoughts, and like that's just who you're going to deal with those situations. It's so hard to not get that reaction from people when you're messing with those characters that they are so convinced we're all white guys.
I know that you can't even have. They were like, why didn't you put William Refrigerator Perry in there? He's a black guy. You could have kept my other white guy the same. It could have been all white guys and William Refrigerator Perry.
I think part of the problem, honestly, so if we talk about comics in America, right, you're talking about primarily superhero comics, because since the 40s, with like a brief break in the 50s, and it came back with a vengeance in the 60s, superheroes have been a genre that have defined the medium of comics in America, right? And a friend of mine, Howard Chaykin, who's this brilliant, legendary cartoonist and writer, he says that superheroes are all about achieving liberal and progressive goals via fascist means, right? And I think it's really astute, and I think it's a smart way of looking at superheroes, because they were a power fantasy for a lot of kind of like liberal-leaning folks who were making these things, who originally created these characters in the 40s and 60s. But as we know and have seen, there's a difference between liberal and leftist, right? And these are liberal heroes, and people can latch on to kind of these softened liberal messages, right? Without engaging with kind of the underlying leftist themes that in some cases are there, in some cases aren't. And those folks, they don't get the full lesson, right? And so it's easy for them to, a lot of these guys who are part of these movements, they still consider themselves they're the classical liberal guys, obviously, the libertarians, right? But they're also folks who they really do. They consider themselves leftist or at least centrist, or not leftist, liberal or at least centrist, because it's so easy to get kind of caught up in this fervor, because it's kind of it's a toothless ideology that these things, a lot of these characters have been built around, and so it's easy for people to kind of project onto it whatever they want, which is what makes them such enduring characters. But it's also how you get folks who seemingly miss all of the lessons of Captain America or whoever you want to point at.
So with this new project, though, we're not learning any lessons from the comic book story of professional wrestling. I did get a chance to read through the copy you sent me, and I was pretty impressed because you included Ring of Honor, New Japan, Chikara was even mentioned in there. So it is always nice to have, and something that looks this great too. I mean, the art is really fucking animated, and
Chris Moreno is my co-creator. He's amazing. Chris Moreno, yeah.
But it's all the same. I mean, all of it. There's no the characters all they're just solid, fleshed out, and they have weight to them. And there's a lot of action in this thing. It's 170 pages, I think, and it goes through absolutely everything. I mean, I would say that anybody could read this and think that they love pro wrestling, and as soon as they turn on pro wrestling, they're going to be like, no, I still fucking hate pro wrestling.
I want to say, I think something that I think about now that he's even said that is that it's so cool to see a book about professional wrestling that doesn't just tell the story of WWE. That is a lot of books that tell this story just tell the story of WWE and WCW, but there is a lot of other stuff out there, and there's a lot of other great stories.
Yeah, thank y'all. That's really nice to hear, because we worked really hard. I mean, Chris is one of the best in the business, and he's the perfect guy for this book because he's so good at caricature, right? And
that's what
it's all nonfiction. Yeah, it's all nonfiction, so he's going to have to draw hundreds of different wrestlers for this thing, right? And he had to make them all look distinct and look like themselves, but without doing the tracing lightbox thing, which always looks stiff and wooden and terrible.
Yeah.
He's brilliant at that, and he's brilliant at period stuff, and he's so smart about finding visual ways to impart information. So I was able to go through and cut a lot of my jibber jabber and stuff. But man, what I'm really happy to hear is that y'all think it's suitable for non-wrestling fans, because that was foremost in our minds, because we want it to be, obviously we put in a lot of Easter eggs. If you're a hardcore wrestling fan, you're going to read this and you're going to hopefully learn something, because it's dense and there's a lot.
You don't know everything that's in this goddamn book.
Yeah, it's a lot, man. But it was you're going to see all the Easter eggs, and it's going to stoke your nostalgia and all. But we really wanted it to be something also that you could hand somebody who doesn't get wrestling, or somebody who's just started to get into wrestling and they're overwhelmed because wrestling fandoms, like every fandom, can be pretty fucking awful and gatekeeper.
Well, high cost of entry. It's the same as comics. It's why I can't get into comics, is because the cost of entry is a lot. There's WWE wants 5 hours a week from you, and some weeks they want 9, So it's
it's too much.
It is a lot. So when I try to explain,
it's supposed to be a primer.
Yeah. I show people one match.
It's a primer. You can pick this thing up, you can read it, and you won't know everything, but you'll have a working knowledge, and you'll get it. You'll understand what the hell people are talking about, even if you don't ever plan on watching wrestling. If you just want to understand why everybody's freaking out on Monday nights and one Sunday night of the month.
Yeah,
this book will explain why.
And it's cool to be able to send people to something, because usually what I do now is if somebody asks me about wrestling, I'll send them to 1 or 2 matches. And be just watch these, and if you like them...
What are the matches? Which ones do you use?
I always send people to Okada versus Shibata from last year.
Yeah.
And Necro Butcher versus Samoa Joe from IWA Mid-South.
Cool.
And like,
yeah.
Well, because Necro Butcher Samoa Joe looks like an old style wrestling match where people thought they might get beat up in the audience. Like Bruiser Brody was really good at, rampaging through the audience and making it look like he was going to actually kill a person. And like, that is the kind of thing that like, because it's hard to explain to people like why it's so great, like to see it live, like why, oh yeah, I know they're fake fighting, but I get into it. Like, and there are reasons to get into it. And these guys just look like they might hit you. You might be in danger. You're part of the show is the important thing about wrestling. And there's a lot of things where you're not part of the show. When you go see a rock concert, they're going to play the same goddamn songs every night. They're not going to play like new, you know what I mean? They're not going to change it up just because of the room. But in wrestling, you have to be fluid like that.
Yeah, man. It's a really unique medium. And I think it's like some people call it a genre, right? They're like, oh, it's like a genre, like soap operas or police procedurals. And it's not, man. It's a separate medium because you're right. We most often consume it recorded, but it's meant to be enjoyed live. That's what
you're looking for is the live experience.
Well, I've never had somebody go to an actual live show, no matter how shindy the indie is, and come back and say they didn't have fun. Even if it's people like bad wrestling. Bad wrestling is good live. I know you don't do bad wrestling, Aubrey, because you got PWG out there, but let me tell you, bad wrestling kicks ass.
I can find some bad wrestling out here. There's enough wrestling in Southern California that I can find some bad stuff. But no, dude, I mean, that's the thing. It doesn't, once you're there, I mean, like, we have these, like, really high, ridiculous standards for match quality and, like, what counts as a good match when we're watching it on TV because we're so divorced from it. But, man, you go to any shitty Legion Hall, and not like the legendary like Reseda Legion Hall, but like any Legion Hall show or gym show or whatever, and wrestling's as fun as you want to make it, man. If you get all drunk and start hooting and hollering at the villain, you're gonna have a blast because that's what it's about. It's about just buying in, and it's about the vulgarity and the crassness of it, and you need to be as vulgar and as crass as wrestling is, and that's a big part of it, I think.
It's beautiful.
Yeah. You know what? I was just real quick. The other thing, just looking at it now, and now that you mentioned that the cartooning thing, like I think what the art lends itself to is people's faces in wrestling are a big part of it. So like when you can really nail down, I'm looking at Lou Thesz's face right now, and when you can really nail down like the jaw, and you can just like sum up the guy in that one thing, or like. These people are so instantly recognizable with just a few strokes of the pen. I know exactly who these people are. So I'm really impressed with it. It's a good book.
So where can people get the book, Aubrey?
Anywhere. It's not nowhere right now because it's not out yet. But on October 2nd, anywhere. And you can pre-order it right now. There's any bookstore, whether it's a local bookstore or a chain or whatever. I'm not going to judge. It has it available for pre-order right now. And it's
He's
all
judging,
good.
though, for real. He wants you to buy it from a local book. I said you're actually judging, though, secretly in your mind. You want him to buy it from an actual bookstore. No. I'm going to explain why. Why not, too. Because people ask me, like, is it better for you if we order from, like a local bookstore or whatever? And the answer is not really. It doesn't really matter. It doesn't make a difference to me, right? Like, obviously, like, if you have a local bookstore that you enjoy and dig, support them, for sure. But if you order from a local bookstore or any bookstore near you, that makes them know that there's going to be demand, and so they order more copies to the shelf. If you order from an online retailer, whichever one, that's really helpful too because it helps their algorithm, and then we show up better in searches, and that helps us as well. If, however, you want, I think the best option is to get a signed copy. And there's a store out here where we're doing a big signing on October 2nd. In the Valley, in Winnetka. Christopher Daniels is going to be there as a special guest along with some other people. Yeah, man, so the rest of the pals are lined up. Nobody else is like 100% confirmed because people have crazy wrestler schedules on the weekends traveling around. But yeah, we'll be doing a signing on October 2nd, and if you want to order a signed copy, either to pick up there or they'll ship it to you, and both myself and Chris Moreno, my co-creator, will sign it for you. There's a link on my Twitter, which is at Aubrey Sitterson. You can go find it. Thank you for calling in. I really appreciate it. I love your work, And Aubrey's a sweet guy. But you follow him.
Hey, y'all are sweet boys. Thank you so much for having me on the show, man. I really appreciate y'all giving me so much of your time. I'm going to get out of your hair so y'all can take some more calls.
All right. See you later, Aubrey. It's a good-looking book. Good-looking book, dude.
It is. It's nice. And it's a lot. It's a lot. And it will make, it breaks down all of the terminology. Actually, you probably will understand Brian a little bit more if you read this book because you'll know what a gimmick is and what working is and what shooting is, what a shoot is and stuff like that.
I try not to do it too much, but then sometimes
you are very bad at
I try not. Yeah, I know. Sometimes I'll just be like, it's a shoot, you know? And people, what are you talking about?
He was working.
He was working. That guy's working. Well, let's get the next caller on the air.
Yeah, that was a long call. Sorry, not to. That was a good call. I
Thank you.
love talking about angry G.I. Joe fans.
I do too.
Yeah. Let's see. I'm using the wrong mouse again, folks. Once again, the next call we got here is right in front of me. All right. Thank you for calling Street Fight Radio. Who are we talking to?
Hey, this is Dan, Dank Metal.
Dank Metal's on the phone. We need a song for you. We missed you. It's so cool that I was talking to you because I was just about to ask you to come on to the show again because we haven't talked to you in like a million years.
Yeah, it's been a while.
Yeah.
Been a while.
How you doing, man?
I'm good, man. Same old. But no, I wanted to call in because I guess you got another wrestling office because I was in Mexico and I went to a Lucha Libre show.
Oh, awesome!
How did you work that? So how did you figure out? Because like that, it seemed I went looking up because I wanted to find out what you were going to, and it seemed like there was a lot of tours because there's like a million lucha shows down there all the time. So what made you decide to go?
Well, I mean, honestly, because my girlfriend lives down there, so she's from Mexico, so we met at my old job, and yeah, so we went down to visit her, and she's like, well, what do you want to do? You know, what do you want? This is like my third time down there, and she's like, well, what do you want to do while you're down here this time? I was like, well, I'd like to go to wrestling because it would be awesome.
Yeah.
So her sister set it all up. It was CMLL, I believe, was the promotion.
That's
nice.
The hot one.
That's a good one. Yeah, I've watched hours and hours of that shit.
CMLL's the hot promotion
so we went,
right now.
So we were like, yeah, we were set up. She's like, oh, she's like, should I bring my son? I'm like, when I was like 7, because he's like 8. So when I was like 8, if you would have told me you were taking me to a wrestling show, I would have been like the happiest kid ever. So we brought him, and it was me and her and her sister and a couple of her coworkers. So it's like a big event there, you know. Like a lot of people go out. There was actually a lot of Americans there too, like tourists and stuff.
Oh yeah,
right. They've been selling 10,000 tickets a week this year. They're like a really hot promotion right now. They got LA Park and Rush fighting with each other.
Rush was there. I saw Rush.
Roosh, actually, but yeah, Roosh kicks ass, man.
Yeah, dude, he was. All right, so like, there was some funny things there. So there's cheap seats, which are like in the outskirts kind of, and it's like standing room only, and then there's like expensive seats. I mean, not super expensive, but just closer to the arena, like actual seats that you sit in. And so there's a tradition there where the people in the cheap seats will yell insults down at the people in the nice seats.
That
like
is,
they'll be like, just stuff about like, we fucked your mom and like all this stuff.
We need to bring that to American
and then
wrestling.
The people in the expensive seats will yell stuff back at them, like like they still say like your mom's our maid and all that stuff. Like they and it goes back and forth like for the entire night.
Wow, I love that. I want to introduce that in American wrestling.
I want to introduce that in all American sports.
It's great. I mean, so it just goes back and forth. There's like different chants they do and everything like that. So, yeah, there was. I mean, you can like the concessions were great too. I mean, there was like, I got like a giant, a huge styrofoam cup, like a michelada, and like they had like pork rinds and like I got a bag of beef jerky with like hot sauce on it.
Oh man, that sounds good.
Yeah, it was great. But the wrestling itself was cool too. I mean, there was a couple like 4 or 5 like a couple tag team matches, and then there was a couple like looked like American or like Canadian wrestlers there, and the quality of the wrestling was awesome. I mean, they were doing doing all the stuff that
Flips,
Lucha Libre is like
Hurricane
famous for, like
Ranas.
flipping it.
Right, and they
Topos.
like it's still carny there. I think that's the thing that like people that's the thing that's made me fall in love with Lucha over the past few months is that like it's so corporate over here when you go to a WWE show. I'm not saying the indie shows are corporate. They're still very carny, but like that CMLL is the big promotion down. One of the two big promotions down there, and it's still a very carny promotion. There are still guys
yeah,
that
it totally felt like something that you would see like back in the day, like in the US, you know.
Yeah.
Like I mean, and
Like
between
ECW?
the matches, they had like girls that would stand up who were like my girlfriend said they were strippers they got from the strip club next door to the arena.
Holy shit!
If you watch it, because
like when the other wrestlers were coming out, they would like get out, they would like stand out there and just like look pretty.
they gyrate. Bret walked into the room in St. Louis. I was watching CMLL, and Bret walked in the room. He's like, "What the hell are you watching?" And
I
was
like-
No, that's exactly they gyrate. Yeah,
It's really it's hypnotic. It's like 6 women just like raising their hands above their heads, like doing like a just putting their hands on their hips, then like move it to the sides, and they put them in front of them, and they're just like gyrating to the music, just undulating, all 6 of them at the same time, just looking good and moving.
Well, it's like real people going to these shows, right? Like when you go to a lucha show, it's like families and like people who really work.
Because we took my girlfriend's kid there, and there was a bunch of kids there. I mean, it was like whole families.
That's how
there,
wrestling is here.
Well, they've priced a lot of people out of wrestling. Like if you want to go see a show with 10,000 people in the audience, if you want to go see a really hot show that 10,000 people are going to show up to, it's expensive to take your kids to something like that because you're going to WWE and they basically have priced everybody out of those front row seats, ringside seats. Like
True.
You got to be some single guy that like doesn't have anything else going on to get those ringside seats. So like that's why I think I respond so much to indie wrestling here is because you go there and it's like all real people that paid their $10 or to get in, like anybody can afford it.
Yeah.
And the snacks they suck. I mean,
They're honest though.
they are on
$1 for a pop is
$1 for a pop and $1 for a bad hot dog.
or a bag of chips.
Yeah. But
50 cents, man. You can take quarters up there and get food.
Yeah.
Yeah, I forget. I think our tickets were around like $20 or something like that. But like I said, our seats were like 2 rows back from like the ring, so it was like super close.
You were shitting on those poor folks.
Yeah, I was like, oh, I think next time we gotta be up in the cheap seats.
Yeah.
That looks like where all the action is.
Right.
Is it
They're pretty
rowdy?
Freaking Black and Milds up
Oh,
there.
it's very rowdy. Yeah.
That's fucking awesome. How is like you've been to Mexico 3 times now? Which city are you going to?
I go to Guadalajara.
So I've never been down there. Have you had Dory Locos down there yet?
Yeah. The first time I went, there's like a stand by my girlfriend's house, so I walked down there, and I got it, and I was like, I mean, it's like basically I wasn't smoking weed down there, but if I was stoned, it would be like basically everything I would ever want. Like,
that sounds
to eat
amazing.
when I was stoned.
Yeah.
Just a big bag of like Doritos with like sour gummies and like hot sauce and like chopped up like ham and like just everything on it you could possibly want.
Pickled onions.
It's so
pickled
funny.
Onions, everything, cucumbers.
It's so funny that it's Doritos too, for some reason to me. Like
People love them; they're so flavorful.
Well, they make them with Doritos, and they make them with regular Tostitos, and then they even make them with Takis.
Okay.
Takis are really in style these days. Like that, like all the kids are eating Takis now.
Yeah, they even started selling them up here, which I'm thankful for.
Yeah, I was getting them in Texas as soon as I found them. I was like, "Ooh, what's this little Dinamita stick about? Dorito don't do none of this shit."
So at the show, I mean, we saw it was Rush versus he was at that match he was known as El Aristico, but he was like Mystico and like before that or something.
Yeah, I think now people are just going to scream at me, but I believe he was the first Sin Cara that you saw Rush wrestle.
Oh,
the Caristico.
Okay.
Yeah, was Ultimo Guerrero there by any chance? Did a guy come out and raise the roof?
I don't know. actually. There was
they have a guy
I saw
that
a
just
guy with a big mullet who kind of had a similar mullet to Guerrero, but I don't know if that was him.
I die. That wrestling cracks me up because the characters in Lucha, like, are a little bit like the names and stuff. I don't think they're bad.
They're bad.
No, like there's a
They
guy.
go there.
There are Lucha.
It's classic wrestling.
Yeah, if you want to go down there and see an indie show, you can watch a guy named Nazi wrestle.
Right.
Yeah, I mean it was hard. Like so Roosh beat the Aristico guy, and he ripped his mask off and then put it inside his underwear. Like while he was like standing there, and then he threw it into the audience.
That's tight. That's a real winner shit.
Yeah. Oh, he was a great heel. That guy. It was awesome.
He's one of the best out there. He's one of the best heels. I don't know if he's a brawler, so he doesn't do a whole ton of moves. He just walks and punches a lot, but throws.
But yeah, at one point they came into the they started fighting in the row, and they were like right in front of us, like literally like wailing on each other right in the seat that my girlfriend's sister and her kid were in.
I love when that happens.
He was like freaking out because you can imagine if you're a kid and you see that, like it's going to be the coolest thing ever, right?
I took my daughter to see Nick Gage wrestle, and he was wrestling. Tim Donst, and they were having this like really brutal match where they were throwing each other around the whole place. Like you had to get up out of your chair and run to the back of the room while they threw each other through all the rows of chairs. And they were using barbed wire, and my kid cried because she was very afraid of what was going on. She thought it was out of control. And I had to keep telling her, they're not going to hurt you. This is all fake. But it really freaked her out a little. But like once you leave, you're like, oh, I really went through something there.
Yeah. And then after the show, he put that Aristico guy put his old mask back on, and he was like taking pictures of the people. So we like took her kid up and like gave him like a fist bump and stuff like that. He was like he was really happy.
That's amazing. That's awesome.
Taking kids to see a performance like that always kicks ass because, I mean, no matter who the people in the ring are or on the stage are, they're big stars to the kid. You know?
Kids,
yeah, it's like you're seeing like actual like superheroes.
My daughter just wants something too exciting to be happening all the time, like when we're at the house, and so you just put them in front of this, and there is always a reason to be screaming or yelling or jumping out of your seat. You know?
Yeah.
So you were into the lucha?
You give
yeah, I'm definitely going to go back.
Seal of
they
approval?
have it like every Tuesday and Sunday night there, I think.
So is it hard to get weed down there?
I don't know. I wasn't really looking around. I can't imagine it's that difficult, but I wasn't. I was just sticking to the booze.
Yeah, and you can get pills down there real easy. I mean, from what I hear.
Yeah, but that's
I know you don't want to get into that stuff. No. I'm just saying.
Sometimes it's a little too easy.
Yeah, I'll be sticking to the tequila and the big beers.
Well, I'm so glad you fucking went and you called in, and I'm gonna get you on and talk to you for an hour soon, Dan.
Oh, I'd love to, man.
All right. Well, thanks for calling, buddy.
Peace out.
Hey, thanks for having me. Have a good one, guys.
He's a real horse's ass.
Oh, congrats on the tour. It looked like a good success.
Oh yeah, hell yeah.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Hell yeah.
All right, guys. Have a good night.
Yeah.
Peace.
Hey, speaking of a tour, October 10th here in Columbus, if you're a Street Fight fan and you're wondering if you should go to the Chapo show, we are going to be on stage with them.
Yeah, we'll be performing with Chapo October 10th in Columbus, Ohio.
At the Anatheum. So if you were like thinking, oh, I don't know if I should go, we will be on stage the whole damn time with them, like we do. And it's not going to happen a million times. So I promised Columbus we would bring the Super Show to Columbus. The Super Show is going to be in Columbus, and who knows if it happens again.
Right. Be there. All right, let's see who's on the phone here. They're getting grumpy in the chat. Thank you for calling Street Fight. Who are we talking to?
Are they getting grumpy?
Yeah, no.
Hello? Is this me?
Yeah, how's it going?
Hi. I think I'm going to have to Terry.
Hey, Terry. How's it going?
What's up, Terry? How's it doing?
It's going. So, I had a pretty fun experience last week that I thought I should share with you guys.
Well,
Yeah,
we love fun
them.
experience. Share it with us.
I'm in need of this.
So, like a month or so ago, I got a just cold call email from a recruiter for Raytheon.
Oh.
So I decided, so I'm a software developer, so, like, there's not really much I can do that's, like, not terrible.
Sure. The big money's in doing terrible stuff efficiently.
The big money is in making missiles.
Make that computer do something bad.
Yeah, that's, like, all we do. Either for the military or for banks or whatever. So anyway, I went, sure, let's see where this goes. So they, like, flew me out to their, like, big hiring event in, like, this, like, 5-star resort in Arizona. So that was pretty cool.
Yeah, nice. Little vacay.
Sort of. I still had to, like, dress up and do sort of
true.
work stuff.
Not a vacay.
So they had this, like, presentation where they, like, gave a short overview of their company. And like, so there was, like, this one slide where they're like, hey, this is all the bombs we make. And then there was this next slide that was like, this is all the customers we have. And it was like the U.S. military, Saudi Arabia, Israel, NATO, all that stuff.
Ooh, wow.
That's like more of a criminal lineup than it is like a client lineup.
Right? So then the next slide, like the very next slide, I swear to God, was like, we are very dedicated to preserving human rights.
Well, I mean, in a way, if everybody's dead, then there aren't any human rights. So I guess, you preserve something. I don't know.
Well, we're going to preserve other people's human rights by killing some people, I guess.
Yeah. We're here to preserve your human rights.
We're here to preserve a manifest destiny of America.
You can't make weapons
No.
and do human rights. You can't do both things ever, especially in capitalism where the weapons have to be used so they can make more weapons. Like, they keep making more weapons. There's no human right. I can't believe weapons manufacturers get away with so
they can say
much
whatever they
shit.
want. I mean, that's the thing, man. You can define your own reality.
They're like, well, we're a diverse company. We bring in all kinds of diverse people. And I was like, yeah, but what do they use those bombs to kill? It ain't Americans they're killing.
We humanely put terrorists down like dogs.
Yeah.
It's funny you should mention that because they really, really were pushing how diverse they were.
That's their thing. That's like, because I've seen ads for Raytheon on Twitter that'll just be like, it's like a bunch of people of color and women, like, they're like, look at, these are the people that make up our business. And I'm like, I don't care, man.
Yeah,
I still don't want you to be in business.
Fuck them. Yeah. No, there would always be in D.C., there was actually on the metro, there would be posters on the wall. That posted on the wall with like someone at their desk, and it's like, find a new path with Raytheon. It was so fucking weird.
Yeah, it was pretty wild. Like it took all of my self-control to not just freaking burst out laughing when I saw that.
Yeah, that's unreal. And everybody, and so were you by yourself or with you like a group of people watching this?
Oh yeah, there were like 200 potential people.
Holy moly. What was the crowd temperature like? Did you hear some gasps?
No, not really.
Yikes.
Like
200 just brainwashed sheeple. Ugh. That's really just gross, man. I mean, it's like, you would want to apologize for all the people that you've killed and all the shit that's come of, your industry. I wouldn't think to go proudly, be like, we're the backbone of the military industrial complex,
Yeah, I was just like, well, what about the human rights of people in, like, Yemen and Palestine?
Yeah, the people that are on the receiving ends of these human rights missiles. Yeah, that's fucked up, dude. That's crazy. So did you go through further training after that?
Or
you just peace out?
Like, I went through the whole thing and I, like, did the interviews and all that, like, dumb stuff. And
anything weird? And they asked you any odd questions?
Not really odd.
Okay.
Like, No.
Okay. Well, that's fucking wild, dude. I couldn't imagine even being in that situation, so I'm glad that you were able to share your experience with us, because I know a lot of us could not even get to that level. That's wild. Thanks for calling in, dude. I appreciate it.
Yep. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me. Thanks, you too.
So I had to leave there because I had to first go to the bathroom, and I also didn't want to take my shirt off on camera. But I was too hot, and I had to get the undershirt off.
Okay. That's fair. Let's see who our next caller is here. Oh, we've slimmed down here a little bit.
Yeah, people are like, yeah, they ain't getting to me tonight.
Thank you for calling Street Fight. Who are we talking to?
Am I on?
Yeah.
You're on.
You
got some tunes playing there?
Oh, no, that's just my PS4 in the background. Can I just start off with, I need to plug a very important GoFundMe.
Yes,
Sure.
you can.
See, here's what happened. This is going to sound really weird, but one of my coworkers who tried...
What's your name?
Oh, I'm HT.
Can you turn the PS4 down? Can you turn the PS4 all the way down?
Hold on, let me kill the TV. Thank you. Anyway, here's the thing. From sounding like I'm babbling right now, basically, I ate like 2 waffles with weed butter, so I'm not all the way here right now.
That's fine. We'll help you on the spirit journey.
So anyway, here's the thing. One of my coworkers, a cook and sometimes dishwasher, he's Haitian. He got picked up by ICE, and we're trying to get some money together to get him a legal offense so he doesn't get fucking deported.
Jesus.
I'm trying to help because I'm trying to prove to the people, I'm trying to do the right thing and also prove to the people there I'm not soulless, because the thing is, this guy tried to kill me at one point at work.
Oh, okay. Well, how close did he get?
Well, let's put it like this. The only reason I didn't die was because there were, here's what happened. To put context to the whole story, he was yelling at our, day manager, who I'm not going to say the name of because it'll completely give away where I work for anyone who knows who I am by my voice. Basically, she was just being her usual annoying self. I could clearly tell this dude was about to hit her. So what I did was I just got in front of him and tried to de-escalate the situation. And he started just yelling. Eventually, he switched over to French. And I was like, fuck, he's about to hit somebody. So I'm just I didn't know what to say. Next thing I know, she's completely disappeared from behind me. And he takes a swing at me. I duck, and he just grabs me and starts trying to stick my head in the deep fryer. He just straight up Latrell Sprewells me into the fucking deep fryer. The only reason my head didn't hit it is because there was a basket there keeping my head from submerging under there. But the point is, I'm trying to keep this man from getting deported. So if you don't mind, I'd like to send this GoFundMe to you guys for you guys to, spread the word around so we can get the money together for him. Because real talk, I'd hate to see his family have to, watch him get deported. And we really need him because, at the restaurant I work at, there are only so many people there in the back of the house that are reliable and come to work. And I'm using air quotes sober.
Okay. So
we really.
Did you make any reconciliation after this? Did you just leave with almost getting dunked in the fryer and just leave it at that? Is that the last you've talked about the issue?
Look, we just stopped. We just never talked about it.
Okay.
He came back a few years later. We got high together. We just never talked about it. So I just fucking just let bygones be bygones. And plus, black people need to stick together.
Okay,
so.
That's very big of you. I appreciate it. So what are we looking for here? Is there a link or a name I should type in?
I was going to send it to you after the show, if you don't mind.
Okay. We'll post it on the feed.
Thank you. Also, you guys were talking about movies and comedies. I have one that I think is my favorite comedy. It took me a while to think about what is my favorite comedy. And I feel bad saying this is my favorite comedy because when you hear it, you're going to be like, how is that your favorite comedy? Bad Boys 2.
I like
a movie.
Martin Lawrence rules, okay? And Will Smith is good if he's in, like, the good movie. It's like Will Smith is only bad because a lot of the bad movies he does, right?
Right.
I think that's it.
Yeah.
No, Will Smith, when he's good, he's the best.
Yeah, and the thing is, people ask me, why is that your favorite comedy? Like, because it's a perfect time capsule of the time period it was released in. It was in, like, 2004. What was going on in 2004? We were in the middle of a fucked up war. Everybody, intellectualism was going down the toilet. Horrible comedies were on TV.
Green Day was, hanging out with John Kerry.
Exactly! See, when I said that as a kid, everyone looked at me like I was a fucking nut job, and they said, what is wrong with that?
Bad Boys 2 is good.
I couldn't put it in words.
Bad Boys 2 is good. You know, my favorite comedy is There Will Be Blood, because it's goofy.
I was
Bad Boys 2...
I was a kid when the first one came out. I was 11, and I thought that was the coolest fucking cops.
That's a height of movie.
Yeah, I mean, it was a pretty big deal. So the follow-up was like more of the same and better and bigger, and it was like, you know, it has that timestamp on it too.
I want to make 2 points. I want to point out 2 things. Number one, Bad Boys 2 literally has the same plot as Modern Warfare 2. I want to point that out, number one.
Okay.
It literally does. Play Modern Warfare 2 and then watch Bad Boys 2. Same fucking plot.
Somebody wasn't doing their job. Somebody was plagiarizing.
No. They couldn't have plagiarized it because Modern Warfare 2 came out way later.
Yeah, that's what I mean. They must have ripped it off. They were like, let's just do Bad Boys 2. That movie bangs.
I like that, though. If that's how they did it, then I good for them.
Right. It's like Shakespeare.
Yeah, I pointed that out. I pointed that out to somebody, and they were like, that's not true. And I'm like, seriously, and I laid it out. I would tell you guys, but it would take too long. Also, point number 2, have either of you seen Face Off?
Yes, I've seen Face Off.
I have not.
Am I alone?
I haven't seen Face Off since it came out. I don't even remember it for some reason. Maybe I didn't see it.
Am I alone in thinking that is probably one of the greatest pieces of late 90s art we have ever put out? Not purposely. It's just like if you watch it and then you take into account the 2 actors they got for this movie.
Right.
And
it's all about faces.
And you just realize they got 2 psychotic over-actors. Like, who did you get? You got Nicolas Cage, a clearly mentally unwell man who is an amazing actor. John Travolta, a clearly in-the-closet Scientologist. You put them in a movie where halfway through they have to pretend to be the other person.
Yeah, the thing is, this is what I like, too, is that this was also a time when you could make a movie about someone's face getting switched. Like, you could just release that and not have, like, Neil deGrasse Tyson poke holes in it or something, you know? Like, you would, it's just like, we're going to put these guys in an action movie where their faces get switched.
Also, John Woo clearly, this is the thing I noticed about it, John Woo clearly has has my sense of humor, which is why I said it's fucked up, because the 2 parts I remember out of it for like everyone else, from the beginning at least, is number 1, when Nicolas Cage is dressed up like a priest at the convention center, and he's out there dancing after activating the bomb, and just straight up does the metal roll while listening to the choir.
Yeah.
And also, slight problematic part, we literally watch him molest a child. I just want to point this out. That's very terrible. Just saying.
It sounds it. I haven't seen it in a long time. I'm more of a Broken Arrow
Go
guy.
back and watch. He's clearly pressing his dick into a little girl's butt and making the world's most uncomfortable O face while they skip to the next scene. It's like, no, Nick, no.
It was different times. Yeah,
different days.
Yeah.
Also, the other part is when he jumps out of the plane with the gold 45s.
Yeah, that's cool. That's cool. Gold 45s kick ass.
That's a high point.
Which I'm just like, how did they get those back later in the movie? Did he just have like a spare set, or did they like steal those from like the FBI evidence locker? What the fuck?
I'm gonna have to review the tape. Yeah, I haven't seen it. I don't remember enough of it. So I'm gonna have to review it to figure that clue out.
Yeah. Anyway, final point. I just turned 27 2 weeks ago.
Okay.
And I just noticed something. It's really uncomfortable when I realize how many of my friends, some older than me, are all vets, and our lives have not gotten better.
Yeah?
Are you a vet?
Oh, no. I am clearly too mentally unstable, which is why I'm able to get away with getting very high on weed waffles before I have to go do a double tomorrow at work.
Nice.
I got to go do a double tomorrow, and I'm just like, fuck it. I'm going to sleep good tonight. Just eat these fuckers, call into my new favorite podcast, which I actually found out about you guys through Chapo Trap House, which I found out about Chapo Trap House through Champagne Sharks.
Yeah.
All good shows.
Yeah, T is the best.
T is cool.
Oh, yeah. But anyway, the thing was, I realized I looked at all my friends, and it's like I looked at all of them, and I'm like, wow, a lot of y'all are veterans, and y'all just, I feel sorry for you. I thank y'all for your service, but it's like, especially my family, like my uncle, like one of my uncles, he was in Vietnam. Mm-hmm. He got pissed off and moved to Canada after he got out the Air Force B to Vietnam. We found out many years later he's got like 2 kids over there.
Damn. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, that's the thing is there's a lot of crowing about how the soldiers get treated on the memes, the conservative meme pages, but it sure as hell isn't adding up that anybody gives a shit, you know?
But it's sad because one of my friends, she's a Marine, and she came back, and it's like I asked her how her life has been during the like decade she's been gone, because she'd literally been going on and off for a decade out of the States, going overseas. She came back. She was in a violent divorce.
Yeah. Yeah, I said, yeah. I mean, yeah, that's a common story.
She's had a violent divorce. She's an alcoholic. She has PTSD. It's like I look at all my friends, and I've had beers with some, and I looked at them, I'm like, it's fucked up that all of you have done all these things, risk your lives for things that in the big picture things don't really matter, and yet
they weren't worth doing.
Yeah, they weren't worth doing, and even when they weren't worth doing, you didn't get the respect you deserve for literally walking through 7 circles of hell and coming back with the same boots on. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah, I mean, I mean, the people that I know that are veterans personally can't hear anymore. Wake up with night terrors all the time. It's not normal. It's not something we shouldn't be sending people to do these things anymore because the suicide rates are out of control. It's not healthy. It's not good for our society, and the evidence is right there in front of our face, you know. And everybody is ignoring it for blind patriotism, you know.
That's the thing. I live in Michigan, and the thing you quickly realize about living in a place like Michigan is everyone big ups the troops, and the number one sign you know they're like just these like overly romanticizing people the troops is, and you've probably heard them because we're all in the Midwest. They are. You've heard of Five Finger Death Punch, right?
Oh yeah, for
sure.
sure.
I mean, if it's a rock band, we've heard of it.
We know about hard rock music, dude.
Yeah, Five Finger Death Punch, if you've never actually heard those songs, if you watch their videos, you quickly realize they are like the rock equivalent to Blue Lives Matter.
They are.
It's like troop music. It's music for listening when you're driving a tank.
Yeah, someone always said that's what Five Finger Death Punch is. It's music to listen to while you're fighting in a war, and I said, fuck that. At least Timothy McVeigh picked some good music to listen to while he drove everybody in their Armored Patrol carrier. Yes, Timothy McVeigh was a terrorist, but at least the man had good music choices while in the fucking tank.
What was his shit? What was he listening to?
He was playing like Bad Company and White Rabbit and shit like that.
Oh, really?
Everyone hated him.
Oh, really? Yeah, they probably was wanting to hear Judas Priest, I'm sure.
Oh, yeah, they said they all hated him for it, but he was just like, he was a fucking nerd, so he just wanted to play whatever he wanted to play. So everyone was like, shut up! Stop playing it! You just have to imagine years later when they heard Timothy McVeigh got busted for Oklahoma City, they were like, finally! Fucking finally! I never have to hear Bad Company again in my life! Thank you, Lord!
For sure.
Yeah.
Man.
Well, hey, thanks for calling in. We're gonna hit a break here and come back fresh.
Hey,
we're gonna go make a couple weed waffles for ourselves.
Quick question. One last question.
Okay.
The email that you have on your site, that's the one I can send it to, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much.
All right.
Not
Thanks, buddy.
Thanks
have a
good
night.
I appreciate it. Sorry.
Right.
You totally made us look like fools in our face-off knowledge. Right.
Sure, yeah. I haven't seen it since the 90s, so I'm pretty bad
rusty,
about that.
pretty
Yeah, rusty on that. Well, we're going to play some more Vaporwave this week. Who knows if we're going to get taken off the goddamn stream. We'll see what happens, but we'll be back.
Brian, thanks for listening to Street Fight Radio. There it is. Street Fighters, what's up? We are back. Sunday night street fight. Hope you've enjoyed the show so far. Taking calls 614-412-5252 every single Sunday, 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Coming to you live out of the Free Press Studios here in Columbus, Ohio on WCRS 92.7 or 98.3. You can find the largest collection of free Street Fight episodes at WCRSFM.org. Click on programs. And I'm telling you what, look at the other stuff that's in there. You're going to love it. There's a lot of independently produced podcasts coming out of Columbus that are doing a lot of good work. There's activism, music, everything you want to hear. So head over to WCRSFM.org. You can also stream it. If you're at work, just click that stream link. You can listen to the show. You can also stream Street Fight. We are also live on YouTube and Twitch right now. So plenty of ways to watch your Street Fight if you're bored on Sunday nights. Come hang with the gang.
Yeah, hell yeah. Come talk to us. Come and talk to me.
I really want to meet you. Can I talk to you? All right, let's see who's on the phones here. We got some calls. The queue filled back up. I guess their tantrum is over.
They're confident that we're going to get the calls in.
Hey, thanks for calling Street Fighter. Who are we talking to?
Hey guys, this is Matt from Ireland.
What's up, Matt? You're in Ireland?
Yeah, I'm in Ireland right now. I'm from Texas, but I'm living over here right now.
Amazing.
Sweet.
You picked up a little bit of a lilt while you're there.
I try and soak up what I can where I am.
I love it, man. Get in that culture. How is it going? What brought you to Ireland?
I came over for work. So I work in university. Like right now, I'm doing a postdoc over here.
That's cool. We have the smartest fucking people listen to us dummies every week. I don't get it.
Hey. You guys make all this shit accessible. It's better than hearing fucking Marxist theory for like an hour and a half on the goddamn radio.
That seems hard. Yeah.
It's I don't know. This is like the working man's left.
Hell yeah.
Thank you. We appreciate it.
But so I kind of had two different stories. I didn't know which one you guys would maybe be interested in hearing. Yeah. But one was to tell you guys about, I used to work at Hooters as a cook.
Hell yeah.
And I've heard in a couple of shows people give shit about Hooters and stuff.
Restaurants, we like to call them on this show.
Yeah, the fucking restaurants. All that, all those ones like Twin Peaks, and I don't know, they're coming out with other ones. But,
Tilted Kilt.
Bombshells.
Yeah, there's always another one. They're very clever with the boob references. Basically I used to work in Hooters, and a lot of my family was involved with the management and stuff like that. And it was a very it was a very interesting place to work or to be around as a kid. And I was earlier.
How old were you?
Somebody was. I started working there when I was 17.
Okay.
Yeah, because I wanted. Yeah, it was like I needed a summer job kind of thing, and my cousin used to do the the networking for the computers between the restaurants.
Okay.
So they could see like how many sales and shit. So he helped them rig up all their IT stuff, and he was like, "Well, shit, if you want to work in the kitchen, I can get you a job at one of the places."
Huh.
Which is it was a damn good place to work. I mean, the people are all pretty laid back. The girls are cool. The guys in the kitchen were pretty sweet.
Okay, so there's where everybody wants us to cut to. What about the customers? A lot of creeps, though, right?
You get some shitty ones. Like, I mean, there were nights that you'd get like I don't know, you'd have like a big game on, and you'd get some shitheads that come in that just want to throw down like a lot of money and try and talk shit to the girls, and that was pretty crap because like I saw on a number of occasions these girls would go out and they're like dropping the drinks down, and these guys just like fucking terrorize them at the table. Yikes. And then they'd have to, like keep a smile on and come into the back, and they just break down the second they got past the door.
Oh God!
Is there security? Do they hire like a bouncer type security person there, or is it like
not really? No, like the fucking kitchen crew that they run through that place is pretty. I think they would handle anything that got too out of place.
That's what I was wondering. Do they just use the like kitchen guys and stuff to kind of handle all the worst people?
Yeah, when I was there, like two of the guys that I worked in the kitchen with, they were ex-cons, and like they were easy fucking going guys. Like it was they could have handled anything that happened inside of the restaurant. I mean, a lot of the people that are coming in and are going to treat any of the staff like that, they're usually shitheads anyway.
Yeah, so, I mean, they would have been shitty anywhere. But Hooters is and Hooters is also a different kind of place because like you go to a strip club and guys are generally pretty respectful and in that they're kind of afraid of the bouncers and they don't want to go too far and stuff like that. But it's not that way at Hooters. Like it almost seems like a free zone for those people.
Yeah, and there were definitely some people that would take advantage of that free zone that they had. But there were also it'd be like a Sunday and you'd get these softball after the game, like all the parents and kids and stuff would come in, and there'd be older people like on dates. There was an old couple that used to come in once a week at least, and they would always get like a burger and have it split, and they'd sit there, eat lunch, and having their little like midweek date thing.
Yeah, so this is like a very like a community place to celebrate breasts, right?
Well, what is this dude that's bringing his wife to Hooters though as like a date? I mean, you can't do that.
Hey, everybody's got. Some people have odd, non-conventional relationships.
Thank you for correcting yourself.
They might be doing their thing.
It's just to me, it's like
it's like bring your like really aggressive girlfriend to try to work a threesome.
It reads to me though like. Things like that always read to me like my wife and I had a date night the other night. And my only suggestion was to go see The Predator, and like
that's kind of like
by the way,
restaurant.
It reads that way to me.
Fuck yeah, definitely. Side note: did you like Predator?
I haven't seen it yet. I ended up taking her to see The Stars instead.
Fuck. Okay.
I'm seeing it.
Well, The Stars,
I liked it.
He went and saw he drove like 3 hours away to where you can actually see stars.
Yeah, but I am going to see The Predator. Don't worry about that. It's a Shane Black movie. I didn't even know that. Of course I'm seeing it.
I thought it was different enough to be good.
Yeah.
Different enough from the old one. Like it wasn't, it was fresh.
I've been told it's bad, but in the right way. So that's
exactly.
loves. Yeah. Bad in the right way.
Yeah. So it's a brain donut, man.
Yeah. Are the bosses, so the bosses seem generally pretty laid back. Do they is it like one of those places where the people that work there are kind of in a party atmosphere?
Okay, so that was kind of where some shitty stuff always came up out of the manager and the regional managers.
Oh God!
So
always.
The staff, they all kind of the whole staff was so like the staff kind of ran the place, and the managers, and it was my experience that the managers would stay back off enough things that, you know, it's just kind of like, hey, just let us fucking do what we need to do and we'll make you money. And it was fine. But when some of the managers that would work there and some of the regional managers were just fucking shitheads. And they were just, you know, trying to, I don't know, they're trying to be like everybody's friend and then wait for that one moment where, you know, somebody gets too drunk at work or they're inviting, you know, they're start to blur the line a little bit. It's that kind of shit. Yeah. And that was definitely, if I said if there was any kind of rot within that, within the restaurant community, it's definitely the managers and the regional directors.
So am I right?
They can be pretty shitty.
Am I right to think that there are a lot of informal kind of benefits to working at a place like that the managers aren't 100% hip to, like, so you're allowed to have like a beer or two at work and things like that?
Yeah. So I mean, I haven't. This was a while ago. When I was there, you could definitely like have a drink, and like in the kitchen, we would always make our own food, so we could just make up this like different. I'd make these giant burritos with all this chicken and stuff in it.
Yes.
If you ever, by the way, if you ever go to Hooters, there's a way you can ask them to cook it Daytona.
Okay.
So it's not on the menu, but it's a way that they can cook they basically fry a piece of chicken, and then they put barbecue sauce and like a hot sauce onto it, and then they'll cook that on the grill, and it comes off like sticky, sweet, kind of spicy. It's nice, but it's never on the menu.
They closed all of them here. I think they're closing a lot of them and then relaunching them as like a more fast casual sort of thing.
Oh God!
Well, like a Five Guys, like you roll in there for wings. There's no breasts. It's just Hooters wings.
Yeah,
so that's what they. That's the.
It's gonna be HTRs.
Yeah, and they hang their hat on the wings anyway, mostly. Like
the wings are why everybody says they go.
The wings and the breasts.
Yeah, right? Yeah, the breasts ain't so bad.
They're reading Playboy for the articles as well.
No, we had a friend that worked there, and she always seemed like she had positive experiences working at Hooters. Like, met her husband there and stuff. And, like, I always got I really did. The only problem or weirdness I ever had with it was what I was saying earlier, how I think sometimes – like there's not bouncers and stuff there, and there's not like a door, and there's not all these like kind of set rules. So then when people go in there, they think they're more free than they should.
Yeah,
you know?
And I gotta say, when someone's bawling, crying, that person should just be ejected immediately. There should just be a policy that if you push the server to tears, then you have to leave.
Fuck yeah, and that was the. How you could kind of pick out the shitty managers, because some of them would be like, "Oh, come on, honey, it's gonna be all right.
That's part of the job.
Get back out there."
They would say that's part of the job. What do you think you signed up for? Type of thing. I could see that. I've had managers do that. You know, I don't know if I told the story, but the first time I ever dressed as Chuck E. Cheese at Chuck E. Cheese, I got beat up. Actually, no. I'm telling the story so wrong. I hate it when I do that. But this woman, the first time she ever dressed up as Chuck E. Cheese, she got beat up by a party of kids. And we pulled her out, and we got her back into the back room, and we took the costume off and was like, this party doesn't get Chucky anymore. You're done. And the guy that was throwing the party threw a huge fit. So they basically made me dress as Chucky and then go out to the parking lot and stand by this limo they had got for Chuck E. Cheese and take pictures with the kids. And I always was like, man, that manager should have had that manager should have had my back in that situation. That manager should have been like, no, man, your bad kids beat the mouse up. You don't get the mouse anymore.
Right. People come here because they want to fucking hug the mouse.
Yeah, they're gonna put you at risk in a way, and a lot of managers do that. They just don't care. They'll put you in front of an irate customer because you're their human shield. They're afraid of the customers. That's like part of being management is that you don't have to deal with the customers anymore. really, and they flex that all the time. Like, you should be able to handle these things without me. And it's like, well, no, because these people out here don't know that I don't have any power at all. You're the one that has power.
Yeah.
You have to deal with these things.
Right. You have the authority
If I've got to handle it, you can pay me more.
Yes, pay me your money. Your job is to handle it.
Yeah, exactly. What the fuck are you doing back there?
Yeah, nothing. They're not doing anything in those little restaurant offices. What are they doing?
Clicking refresh on an email. That's all. Clicking refresh.
All the skilled managing.
Yeah, they always say they got skills too, but they're really just people who have been there longer. You know what I mean? They're always like, I have all these skills. I guess maybe this week, Brett, we'll do the Hooters episode of Undercover Boss.
Perfect.
Yeah. It'll turn into this. Well, hey, thanks for calling in, man.
Yep. Hey, the other thing I was going to plug real quick was if you guys do go down to Texas on your tour, I know you're still working out kinks and shit, but try and go to San Antonio if you go down that way. Because I know you got Street Fighters in San Antonio, and come on, fucking Austin. Austin sucks.
Yeah, but it's the place you have to go to if you're doing this kind of thing.
Oh,
I have free room.
I tell you what,
I have like free luxurious
round up all the
room
lanyards in Austin.
Yeah, but them's the rules. You just got to go where people are. That's the thing.
I never made it to San Antonio, and I always wanted to.
It's different. You probably have. I mean, Austin's definitely going to have a crowd for you, but yeah, it's only one flavor of South Texas. Let's put it that way.
Okay, well, we'll look into it. Thanks for calling in, man.
All right, well, have a good night, guys.
You too. Yeah. Enjoy Ireland.
Thanks, yeah.
Hooters. We never had a Hooters worker call in.
No, that's the first one. Yeah, I know a few people that work there, but, you know, there was always gross stories. Touching, inappropriate touching.
Yeah. And it's like stuff that you generally, at the strip club, there's a sign that says, don't do that, and you're kicked out. But at Hooters, people don't have that sign. So people feel like they can just do it. They think it's a strip club.
Exactly. And the thing about it is that most of the servers there are pretty fun and flirty and are pretty easy to not like go too far with, you know, like I have eaten there several times and just had a fun time and didn't, you know, there was no reason to cross any lines or to think that any sort of like sexual relationship needed to be brought up, you know, between me and the server.
No,
you know,
for sure. She's bringing you chicken wings.
Yeah, and smiling. Yeah. Right? And that's it.
Remember that dude that wrote that story or that suggestions for Hooters?
God damn it. We should read it. You need to get the whole thing printed out.
We've read it on the show before.
Wall. Jesus Christ, guys.
We've read it on the show before. He wants Hooters people to talk to him.
He wants them to be geishas.
Yeah, he wants them to talk to him about the latest book they read.
He wants to have them go. He wants to sit in the audience while they battle head to head in a match of wits.
Yeah,
while they spout off history.
He wants them to debate.
Do a quiz bowl.
He wants them to come and sit with him and let him tell them his problems.
Yeah, he gets to say everything that's going wrong with his day. Just dump all of his emotional shit on them.
Yeah, that guy was the best. He was something else. What a weird pervert.
Let's see who's on the phone here next. Thank you for calling Street Fight. Who are we talking to? Skelly? Is that you?
Nope, it's not a skeleton.
Oh, what? Is that me?
There's a bump in the night.
That's you.
Oh, my gosh. Wow. I can't believe I'm on Street Fight Radio.
You are on Street Fight Radio.
Welcome.
I say that every week.
Yeah. Hey, well, this is Lucas. I'm from Minneapolis, Minnesota.
Sweet. We loved your city.
Yeah, I loved your show. I was there. It was really great.
Oh, thanks for coming. That city's great. We really want like that. It's made it to the list of places that we definitely want to come back to. I really want to do Mayday there.
Oh yeah, no, you guys definitely should come to the Mayday. I've only been able to go to it once, but like it's really cool. People sometimes say that it's like, oh, you guys gentrified Mayday, but like it has its own set of traditions here, so like it's just a little bit different. Like there's a very large art community here that kind of manages it, and like there's like a theater that's very involved in like putting
you
it
can't
on the
fucking
parade.
police
and,
a
like,
May Day celebration.
Yeah, you can't
Just fucking
gentrify.
get involved.
Well, yeah,
help or
it's
get
like
out
my
of the way.
angry, edgy anarchist friends from Chicago came one year and were like, "What is this? Like, no, this is just families like having a good time together." And it's like, yeah, their families having a good time together. Like that's a pretty productive thing.
That's what May Day is supposed to be. May Day isn't just supposed to be you and your black bloc like fucking shit up, man. May Day is for every single worker, every person.
Exactly.
You know?
Exactly.
It's a day off.
But yeah, it's really cool. They make these big puppets, and like there's these bicycle anarchist people who like make these huge, crazy like bicycle machines. I don't know. It's a crazy festival. You guys should definitely come next year or whenever you can, and it's very neat.
I love huge bicycle machines. We have a group that does that here. We actually got to hang out in their warehouse one day, and I was like, "Hi, those things are so sweet. I wish I could weld."
Yeah, I have no idea how they do all that stuff. I've been biking for a long time. In fact, I didn't learn how to drive until this year.
Oh, wow.
Because I was like able to get around on bike.
Congrats.
Yeah, well, I grew up in Chicago and then moved here, so I was like able to get by on like bikes and trains mainly and buses. But
welding,
I finally learned how to drive.
Welding
is
welding is the top magical working class power. Like that's you've made it all the way to the top of like working class power when you can weld. Everybody
metals.
I ever knew growing up was like, "Oh damn, I wish I could weld." You know what I mean? Like there was always like all my friends, everybody I knew, me is like when something metal breaks, you're like, "Damn, if I just knew somebody that could weld, or if I could weld, all my problems would be solved."
Yeah.
Well, what's going on tonight?
Oh, not much. I just, was like, oh, damn, like, they're having their show, and, like, I can finally call in and say hi. I've always had, like, a short list of, like, things I would say if I was on Street Fight Radio.
Well, let's hear
So the first thing I'll say is you guys like to go after bosses a lot, but I've actually had pretty good experiences with bosses.
Okay.
Mainly because I probably work in, like, hippie, communal workspaces where power is shared.
Yeah,
but,
that's the type of relationship
so
we like too. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm lucky, but the people who really suck, and it's been becoming more and more clear how many ways these people can suck, is landlords.
Yes.
Landlords are like the bosses of your whole life.
Nobody, you know what? We don't cover landlords nearly enough on this show, and we should, because it is another piece of everyday life that you have to deal with. But
I mean, it's the same dichotomy, except for like, they get you when you're at your home.
Yeah.
Like, bosses get you like, when you're out and you're like trying to make money, and then you come home, when you're just supposed to be able to like relax, enjoy the fruits of your labor, and they come and ask you for all of your money.
They do.
Yeah, and they control your safety. I mean,
and you're always just like
for real.
They're always like, I don't have enough. Oh man, the plumbing's messed up in this apartment. It's gonna cost me a fortune to get it fixed. And you're like, I give you most of my money. Like get more of my money than I do, more of my money than any of my bills do. You get the most money. So I don't want to hear about your money situation.
Right.
Yeah, for real. I mean, like, and it's shitty because, like, so I'm a university student at the University of Minnesota, and, like, so I live in, like, the college neighborhood, and, like, typically, like, college neighborhoods have pretty bad housing options.
In Columbus, they, like, really go after them, which is kind of a cool thing.
Students are a vulnerable renting group for sure, because like we don't really know what to look for when we're looking at places, and we're just like, cool, this house has enough bedrooms that I can squeeze in all my friends. And you're like, oh, this is actually not really a bedroom. It's just like a room in a basement that they kind of put like some plywood around a section of the basement, and now it's a room.
Yeah, you know what? 25-year-old furnace leaking carbon monoxide in the house.
No college students, no young people think about central air or like heating. Yeah. So they always end up in one of those apartments with one of those funky like furnace things that's just sitting up in the corner of the room. Yeah, and like the house is 200 degrees in the summer above a restaurant.
I just went to my friend. She just moved into a new house last night. I just went to her like housewarming party sort of thing, get together, and she was just giving me a tour of the house. And like every single room, I was like, this building is not like flat. Like everything was like tilting to the side. Like I went into the basement and like this big like furnace pipe was like just bent in the weirdest way, like just totally like slanted. I was like, nothing about this building seems sturdy.
Safe. It's not
Yeah,
safe.
there are people that like there's mold in the basement, so they come and just paint over it.
Oh my God, yeah.
Yep.
There's water. I'll always be like, there's water coming into my basement when it rains. Like I'll just say it casually to the landlord, like when it rains, it's a part of my basement that there's never anything there. Like I don't keep anything there because there's fucking always water on the ground. And when it rains a lot, the water comes in and we'll tell them, you're like, well, I can't do anything about it unless I catch it while it's happening. I'm like, well, it's
right.
I can tell you when it's going to happen.
Right.
Yeah.
It's definitely happening.
Okay.
To me.
Well, so my problem lately has been that I think like a month ago, honestly, at this point, because I looked at it recently and I filed this maintenance request on the 26th of August, and it still has not been taken care of. There was like this fly in my house, and it's like early in the morning, and I'm swatting at this fly, and it's on my window, and I swat at my window, and the glass just shattered.
Oh
yeah.
shit.
So I've had this shattered window right next to where I sleep for the past month, and it's been getting like cold and drafty at night.
Yeah, it's going to get to be winter in Minneapolis soon.
Yeah, and I literally I emailed this guy I rent from basically it's a property management company that runs
nightmare.
So it's the guy who owns the house isn't even the landlord.
Right.
Like the landlord is just some guy who is hired through a third party, and then the maintenance company is another third party thing that he has to communicate with. So I've called this guy so many times. Finally, last week, he was like, okay, I got the maintenance people to get in touch with you. And I talked to the maintenance people, but honestly, I can't even tell if they came and took measurements of stuff. But this is a code violation, in my city. So I'm just you can't have a broken window. I'm on the first floor. It's you can't have a broken window on the first floor.
Yeah.
'Cause that's a huge risk, in terms of theft and
wildly
especially in a college town.
all sorts of stuff. Yeah, I'm missing a screen on one of my other windows. I was like, you guys got to take care of this stuff ASAP. And he's like, oh yeah, sorry, it was just moving season in your neighborhood, because September 1st is when everyone moves into their new place. So I was like, okay, well, whatever. It's a broken window, you got to fix it. I'm in that neighborhood too. Just send someone over to take a measurement. I just don't understand what could be taking them this long. To fix this. I pay plenty of money. So it's kind of what do you want me to do? So
they want
honestly,
you to fix
if
it.
I don't hear...
They want you to fix it is what they want you to do. But you can get a window fixed in one day, by the way, too. You could, if it was your house and you needed to call and get your window fixed, you could get somebody to come out there and do it in one day without a problem. But you have to go through this labyrinthian bureaucracy to get there.
So, from what I've gathered, there's even another company that just does the glass, for all these places. So it's the maintenance people come and figure out what's wrong with the glass, and then they call the glass people. So it's how many dudes do you have doing this?
Well,
it's so ridiculous.
You want to know something about all those people, all the different subcontractors that they have to do it are just buddies of people that work for the maintenance company. It's always oh,
it's
call my buddy.
True.
Yeah, it is. It's just
probably true.
A bunch of buddies that know each other because they all work in the same field and they call each other and do stuff. My landlord knows.
Except for these companies all have these names that make them sound like they're big. I think the maintenance company that we use is called United Operations, which sounds which sounds just some secret division of the CIA or something, United Operations.
Right. It always sounds like what a dumb
some,
guy.
Massive union or something. Is this a stealth operation to get me to hate unions? Because it sounds like a giant union.
It
So, like, I
sounds
know
like
it's probably none of these people are union, probably because they're taking forever to get anything done. Like they're just milking it.
it sounds like what a dumb guy thinks a corporation would sound like. You know, they're all called like United Operations and shit like that.
United Operations Worldwide.
Yeah, you know when
Incorporated.
you know when you really got to be worried is when they send you the AAA1 people to fix your stuff, and you're like, oh damn, you just picked the first person in the phone book there. But yeah, I mean that's the worst thing about. I think the thing about landlords that makes me crazy is they use the cheapest help and the cheapest materials, and it's like, dude,
Right.
this is
Well,
your
and it's
house.
like seriously, me lightly swatting at a fly should not be enough force to shatter glass.
No,
Like,
I mean, there's
that's
plate
ridiculous.
glass. No, my wife backed up into the window and it like cracked the whole thing, and it was not even like she was bending over to pick something up, and it's just my windows are from like
Yeah.
the 1900s.
Like, yeah, seriously. No, I think that's honestly, this is clearly an old house, and it's like divided into 4
Brittle.
units.
there's just
Yeah, so like the glass I can just tell is like super brittle. Like, you know, I sleep next to the window, so like I'm like, yeah, it's very drafty. Like this house has probably no insulation.
there's
No,
just
nothing, and
there's just not enough tenant like a tenant's bill of rights would be something that would be like something where it's just like you're not allowed to have paint chipping off. Like you have to come in and like I had this big problem with mine. I moved into my apartment 12 years ago and I had carpet and they wouldn't replace the carpet. Like they just wouldn't replace it. So finally we were like, okay, so the carpet's disgusting. And I was just embarrassed to have people at my house and like, I thought every single person that came to my house was like, your carpet is disgusting and you're a piece of crap. And then like, so finally we were like, can we take the carpet up and just work on the hardwood floors? And they finally let us, but they had us pay for we paid for the whole thing. That's like why we didn't replace it or we didn't replace it. We didn't do like a bang up job.
You didn't stain it or anything.
Yeah, no, we didn't do any of that stuff because it was just like, I just don't want to be embarrassed when people walk into my house. But to tell you the truth, if you have carpet and you're renting, they should have to change it every few years. They shouldn't be allowed to just carpet your place and then just be like, well, when you move out, we'll change the carpet. When you move out, we'll paint the place. I got paint chipping off my walls.
Right.
They should be over there fucking painting it, man. And there should.
Yeah, no. So get this: the company that I rent from, I'm going to put them on blast right now. It's called North Bay Company. Even though this is Minneapolis and there is no bay anywhere, so I don't know what this North Bay Company is supposed to mean. It used to be called CPM, and they changed the name last year because they probably were getting so much bad press.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I have a friend who rents another property from them, and I have several friends actually. So one of my friends, she lives like right across the street from me, and when she moved in to her place like a couple weeks ago, it was like filthy, and like she and her dad were like filling out the like move-in report checklist they give you, and like her dad was writing like for like the bathroom like biohazard, like because like the toilet was so filthy.
Yeah.
He was like, this is just like her dad was like just pissed because of how dirty it was.
Well, they hire their buddies to clean the apartments too. My mom used to clean the apartment.
Or honestly, like so. Then my other friend who lives a couple blocks from me, they said that when they moved into their place, like literally the people who were living there before had moved out like 6 hours before they moved in. So there was no cleaning done, and they moved into this house with like garbage everywhere.
So there was still
like there was no transition or cleaning.
Yeah, you should get a month in between people moving in to get rid of their stank energy. You're totally right.
Yeah,
at least a week, you know, and like actually hire a cleaning crew.
Let their dead skin cells settle.
Yeah. Well, and a girl like just moved upstairs, and like the day she moved in, she was like, I heard her just yelling out in front of my apartment. I was like, "You okay?" And my apartment's filthy, and like none of this stuff is taken care of. And they like she said that literally she was couch surfing for like a week and a half because they wouldn't let her move in. And then when she moved in, like none of the stuff they said they were doing was done.
And that's
she was
the
like,
thing.
What the flip was the point of any of it?
There should be. You should have a right. I feel like that if something happens to your place and you're waiting on maintenance that you can't get into, that they should have to put you into a hotel. You shouldn't have to couch surf and find a place to stay. You just it's so the tenants' rights are like almost nothing, and you hear people talk about them all the time, like, oh, well, when you move into an apartment, they have to paint it. I never in my life moved into an apartment where they painted the apartment. Yeah. Never, not one time. Right. And you know, I have a private landlord. It's just a guy that owns like 4 apartments on the same street.
And see, these days, that's like a good scenario. If,
that's
like, the guy actually owns it, like. Because, like, if it's, like, some management company, they literally could care less about how nice the house is or what condition the house is.
We went from the management company situation. I'll actually say this. Like, we had these huge cabinets above our sink, right? And we were keeping stuff in them. And one day, they started to come off from the wall. And they were leaning off the wall, these huge cabinets. So we had to take everything out. We called that management company 100 times. They never came. And then they just came out and they put 2 brackets on it and left. And it's like, that ain't holding this thing up, man. It's just everything's done to the cheapest possible way. The DSA in Columbus and in a lot of cities are focusing a lot on tenants' rights.
Yeah.
And I do think that, like, there are laws on the books and there are regulations on the books that we aren't going after landlords for at all because we don't know about them. But I just think there's not enough rights when it comes to renting. I'm a guy that is always going to rent. I don't want to own a house. I want to be able to just leave. And like, I don't have any desire to own a house, but I do know the pitfalls of renting. And I know like the types of cheap things that these companies and these landlords do, and just to squeeze a little bit of money out of you. Like they shouldn't be allowed to do that. They shouldn't be allowed to leave your plumbing fucked up so your water bill's $100. My water bill was $100 last month. Not because of anything I did, but because my plumbing in my bathroom's fucked up and it sounds like it's running all the time. We called 50 times and the dude's like, it seemed fine last time I was there. I'm like, I can fucking hear it. I can hear it. But there's nothing I can do. I don't have any recourse at all. It's the
that exact. Is so friggin' shitty.
Yeah. The world is just geared toward landlords and bosses.
Well, I swear, like, you know, last year was our city elections here, so like we have like a pretty, I think we flipped like 9 seats in our council, and like the big debate was like on housing, affordable housing, and like tenants' rights. So I'm really hoping that like stuff starts to change around here, but like honestly, I doubt it. Like it's gonna move so incrementally slowly. Like right now, like the housing debate has just become like, oh, how can we build more units in Minneapolis so that like we can house more people?
Yeah, affordable.
Okay, great. We can house more people. We can house more people, but like, how about the people who already are housed, who like are getting the shittiest service ever?
Yeah,
it's
and
like the most like bare bones requirements, and like they build these new places and they look awful. I mean, I'm sure you probably saw some of them while you were here. Like some of these new places just look awful and like tacky, and like. They charge people like in the university neighborhood, other students are like paying like $1,000 a month to share a room. Like, can you imagine? Like, that's just ridiculous. To share a room with like, a couple other people, it's like.
Right, and when they
say
say
even like a bedroom for $1,000, it's a bed for $1,000.
Right, and then they're expecting kids to work for minimum wage because they don't have any skills and shit. You know?
Yeah, and that's the other thing is like. We passed the $15 minimum wage law, but there's one employer who was exempted from it, and it was the University of Minnesota. The University of Minnesota doesn't have to pay their students
those bastions of communism there.
So we get like actually I'm lucky. I just got a job, my first job ever at the university, and they're paying me just short of $15, which is pretty good. Usually it's like $9.50. Or $10 an hour is your starting wage, but I'm getting like 14 right now, which is pretty good considering I've never worked there before. I think I just got lucky, and my department's very nice to me. So,
well, that's great.
But no, it's crap.
Thanks for calling and letting me yell about landlords. I appreciate it.
Yeah, no, talk about landlords more because that's the second fight. After the bosses, we got to fight the landlords.
We certainly will.
I mean, some people work for landlords.
Yeah. Well, thanks for calling, man. Let's get
Absolutely.
this next call in. Landlords are the worst, man. My landlord's actually good. It's a good situation for me. It's just cheap. They don't have to do anything.
Right. You just agree, like, as long as they don't give you any sort of raises in your rent, you won't expect much from them.
Yeah. That's it.
Thanks for calling Street Fighter. Who are we talking to? Skelly?
This might be a real skeleton. Skeletonio.
What? Really?
This is our first skeleton in like 2 weeks, dude.
All right. One going once, going twice. Let me hear the rattle of your bones. Are you there? Are you there?
That's my
Skelly?
bone noise. I made a bone noise for you. God, I'm pissed at landlords now. You got me all fired up about landlords now, Bret.
All right, let's see. Thank you for calling Street Fighter. Who are we talking to?
Hey, what's up?
Not a lot. But I'm pissed off about landlords now. What's going on?
Yeah, I actually got a fun landlord story.
Sweet.
This is Steven from Lawrence, Kansas.
Howdy.
And I actually got to see you guys when you guys came in for the Kansas City show.
Hell yeah. Well, I think I talked to you about Lawrence. Did me and you talk about Lawrence?
Yeah, we did quite a bit. And by the way, definitely come to Lawrence sometime.
We'll look into it. I liked Kansas City. Best smelling city in the country.
Yep. Never been better.
Yeah. Lawrence has some pretty good smells too, I'd say.
Okay.
Kansas City, I think probably has a beat though.
Yeah, nobody understood. We were telling all of our friends yesterday at a party, like, Kansas City is like the best smelling city, and they're like, no, it's not. Like, what do you mean by that? And I'm like, it smells good everywhere.
Everything, so much fried deliciousness.
It's the barbecue.
It's wonderful.
It smells like
barbecue. Yeah.
Yeah, it smells like open pit, smoky, just glazes. I just think of like side dishes. The whole thing just comes to mind when you're there.
Bret actually had a life-changing sandwich in Kansas City. He was like, I haven't seen him this happy.
What was the sandwich?
It was a jackfruit that was done like pulled pork.
Oh my god!
It was
nice.
great, and it had like pickled onions on it. And it had regular ass pickles on it. It was saucy. Fucking loved it. It was gigantic. It was like real nice because it was like the size of a small dinner plate.
Yeah, it looked like a real barbecue sandwich. They didn't hold back at all on this thing. It looked good to me, and I was eating burnt ends, which were excellent.
Yeah, he went crazy about those.
Yeah, I can't stop talking about them.
The burnt ends are pretty great. I haven't tried any of the jackfruit stuff.
Well, that barbecue
I haven't
place.
tried the jackfruit stuff yet, but I have heard really good things about that stuff because yeah.
Well, it does
I really
all
need
the
to try
stuff.
that next.
You can get it crispy on the edges and caramelize it, and
it has the texture. It has all the right stuff to make it basically a meat thing, and it doesn't taste like vegetables. Like, that's always a big problem with me when people are like, "I'm gonna do this fake meat, like this substitute of like pulled pork," and you're like, you eat it, and you're like, "No, I taste vegetables in here. I can still. I have that, but there's chlorophyll in there." What's going on tonight?
So, I actually did have a fun landlord story. Well, no, it's not fun at all. It actually really sucks. It sucks. It's a big fat sack of suck. Anyway, so this happened to me when I was living in Emporia, Kansas. I was briefly going to school down there, and I was actually like getting ready to like move back up here. It was only like the last few months I was living down there. So I had this kind of weird landlord, and it was like a very weird kind of like loft studio apartment that was basically it was an apartment that you had to crouch all the time, almost all the time.
Wow.
So you move around because it was just that small.
It
was like an over 100-year-old house. And,
I've been to one or two of. I did meth in one time.
Sounds right. Yeah.
Those things happen in those houses.
Yeah, I smoked cocaine in some of those houses. With this guy, he lived in like an attic apartment, and the bathroom you couldn't stand up. You had to sit, like the shower. I mean, you couldn't stand up. You had to sit in a chair while you took a shower.
It's the only time I did meth was before an orgy concert in a big, in like an attic of an apartment, but the whole apartment, like the attic was this person's apartment,
right,
and then the other apartment was somebody else's, and you had to like lean.
Yeah.
We're all like
so
lean down,
listening to Blue Monday.
yeah.
Yes. So this was that kind of house, and so I was kind of like, I was really struggling to just find work down there because it's really hard to find a job down there, especially anything that's going to be above minimum wage. That isn't going to be. It's like everything is a nightmare job down there. So and yet somehow I was able to like make rent every month. wasn't late ever once. And so there was 1 month. This was like maybe a couple months before I'm about to move up. Really, but a couple months before my plan to move up, because really, spoiler alert, this pretty much meant I had to move immediately. But so what had happened? I like had rent ready for him, and there's no answer on his phone. Like, he doesn't answer his phone for like weeks, until finally I go to I'm like leaving for Lawrence because I have to go check out the place I'm looking at. And so he gives me, I just let him know, hey, so in case, you want to get rent, I am out of town. I've left rent in this jar for you. You have access to my apartment. Just come in and get it, all that stuff.
Sounds reasonable.
That was a really dumb mistake because, what had happened is he calls me, like, basically as I'm looking at the new place and says, hey, I just went in your apartment. There's no money in that jar.
Oh no!
So,
are you serious?
Yeah, and so that basically was, I was like, well, that is all the money I have. Like, that's it. And he basically is like, well, I'm gonna have to start the eviction process now. And I'm
what?
Like, great, yeah. So basically, got all that stuff out, and apparently he had even like called a cop to like come all the way there even after I had left because he wanted to like make sure I was gone. But apparently what the cop had done is like knocked on the wrong neighbor's door, who was like a friend of mine at the time, and told him that they were like looking for me, like basically like and all that stuff, and like it made it seem like and so I kind of found out that like he actually had like a friend on the force, and so he was like kind of trying to get this cop to like scare me away from the apartment and like kind of scare me into paying him. Stuff like that, and he starts like leaving all these like weird, threatening voicemails on my phone and stuff like that. And so, basically, really, I just kind of like ignored it, and that was it. Like that. I mean, there's been absolutely nothing like that has come of this. But I mean,
was the landlord
than,
like a shiesty person? Like, did you have reason to believe
extremely.
Okay, so they just saw an opportunity to get the money.
Oh yeah, like I basically like was really the whole time I was just like he was even like, yeah, I prefer cash or check, which that's a little weird, I guess.
Mine's like
the
that.
check thing, I guess, like you can kind of like I guess cancel a check and stuff like that, but like you said you like preferred to be paid in cash and stuff, so it was like.
That's bogus, dude.
Yeah.
I hate
there's a lot of weird signs like that. Yeah.
Paying in cash, I have to pay in checks, Minion checks. By the way, if anybody's wondering what my checks are, they're Minions checks. But I have to pay with check, and they won't do PayPal. They won't. I was like, one time I was like, y'all should get PayPal, and they were like, well, we have a PayPal. I was like, can I pay you rent on PayPal? And they said no. I was like,
you should be able to like pay in Bitcoin and stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah. I just want to be able to pay it online and get it out of the account as quick as possible.
Yeah.
I hate having checks floating out there.
Yeah. No, I want it. That's actually my current landlord. We do have it set up that way where I can like pretty much just get it out of the way and get it out of my bank account and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And, but yeah, so it's a lot better with my current landlord. But, so there was, I will be honest, there was another story I actually really wanted to talk to you guys about.
Okay.
And it involves both, the Kansas right to work laws as well as the Kansas drug laws.
Okay.
So a buddy of mine was, this was like about 2 years, no, this was about a year ago, a little over a year ago. This was in 2017. He was, basically, he was told he was fired for taking an item that he was told was like a free promotional item for employees, that sort of thing. And he was like, they basically told him, hey, you get this thing for free, and he took it, and they told him, oh yeah, that wasn't the thing that was free.
What? What was it?
And you have to bring it back. And so he brought it back, and then they fired him.
That's fucking weird. That sounds like a setup.
Yeah, and it pretty much, it kind of sounds like it was. Because he had, like, gotten promoted and stuff like that, so it looked like he was, like, kind of on track to being, like, on their good side, but then I guess he, like, rubbed somebody the wrong way or something like that. I don't know what happened, really.
They put a hit out on his ass. They straight up gave him the package, man. That was a sting operation.
Middle management, they can be brutal.
Wow, God, motherfucking damn it.
So basically, you know, he's, like, looking for another job. So there's one night where he's driving home, and a cop follows him home, and he's just hanging out at his house, and the cop then like just shows up to his house, like just maybe about an hour after he gets there, and asks to breathalyze him, and basically he's been drinking and stuff like that, so they like, you know, they said, like, well, we saw you driving earlier, and it hadn't been that long. And he's like, well, that was like an hour ago. He's like, no, that was like 5 minutes ago.
What?
And so they charged him with it, and so that's another thing they can do in Kansas.
Fuck Kansas. That's a little
come to your house and charge you with a DUI.
That's fucking unreal. No way.
He was driving like 5 minutes ago. Yeah, basically.
No way.
Yeah, and
they can get you here if you're just sleeping in your car drunk.
Sure.
I've had a lot of friends who, but they drove drunk, right? But when they got there, they passed out in the car. Well, and the cops come and they're like, "You can't be in here."
It's like if there's suspicion of drugs, they can go to your house. But I think since he was out on his lawn, that basically it wasn't like they just were able to just kind of come up to him. So. Yeah. That was it. And so basically they charged him with like a DUI and tacked on a theft charge for related to the promotional items that he took from like the auto parts like store that he was like working for or whatever. And they told him that he could either go to jail if he wanted to contest like the theft charge. He was going to go to jail for the DUI and like wasn't going to be able to do anything except just go to jail and like not be able to drive for like 2 years after that.
Oh my God!
And so basically, he has to like take like DUI and the class. He has to go to DUI classes and like separate theft classes, like state mandated,
Jesus.
And take mandatory piss tests every like 2 to 4 days, basically.
Fuck. I mean, this is
which is really really shitty.
Well, one, because you can't smoke weed.
Like he has pretty bad anxiety, and he needs to smoke. And that's the thing. Like, and so that's been something that's like real, like pretty draining on his life. And so it's the thing. It's like this started back in like June of last year, and this doesn't stop for until like April of next year.
God.
And so like it's basically like he's like doing a little bit better since like he's like he realizes he's only got like a few more months. He has to deal with this shit, but like there's like. It's really, like, weird, like, the things that they are allowed to do to you to basically, like, just completely alter your life and have complete control of your life in Kansas. The way they like, the cops and even, like, you know, employers will kind of, like, work together to, like, do that. So that's those things. And it's really common almost in, like, especially in, not so much in the Kansas City area, but more so in, like, Johnson County, which is where this like happened, and especially in the like the Olathe area, that's an extremely wealthy area. So there, and you can kind of see where there's a lot of a lot of people want to kind of look the other way when employees are being like abused, weirdly enough, and like when people complain about their job, they're kind of told to. Oh, suck it up, you know, it's just a job, that sort of thing. That is, like, really, really common in Johnson County, and it's, like, a really weird, sort of, like, mentality.
It's everywhere, dude.
Yeah, it's, like, everywhere, but, like, that is...
it does sound like run amok, though.
Well, that's a state where the Republicans really planted their flag and were like, we're going to do all the conservative stuff. Because I've heard a lot about how much funding they've cut there, that it's really, like, there's almost no social services there. And, like, the state government is basically failing now because they just don't even have money to run it, because that was where they planted their flag. They were like, well, this is going to be the realization of what a Republican country would look like. and it doesn't sound very good to me.
Right, it's not working out at all, and you can really see that people are starting to see that this like just isn't working out, and but the thing is, it's kind of weird to see a lot more of the northeastern. It's basically the more northeastern corner of Kansas that seems to be. You see a lot more of this like energy. I guess also in Wichita as well, because Wichita has DSA and they have which is also pretty active. I
spent a summer in Wichita.
Oh, sorry.
I spent a summer in Wichita. I hated it.
Oh yeah, how was it? Oh yeah.
My family wouldn't let me play outside because they said there were too many gangs everywhere. I'm not lying about that. It's
oh my God.
The truth. They said you can't. We live in. This is a city. There are gang members everywhere. You could end up in the Bloods or the Crips if you're out running around. You need to stay in the yard. And I was like 12, and I was from Columbus. And like, listen, by the time I was like 12 or 13, I wanted to be in the Bloods or the Crips. So I was kind of like, this place sounds cool.
Oh, yeah. Right, yeah. Sweet. Let's spend some time in the great outdoors.
Yeah, but no, they didn't. That was a weird place because they really did feel like they were.
It's just kind of weird. It's mainly just weird, and there's a lot of crack.
Yeah,
and meth and stuff.
Very conservative. Very conservative.
People.
Place.
Yeah, conservative values and a lot of low-grade stimulants. Just kind of
dysfunctional. Also, the first place that I ever saw a gay bar in my entire life. Which I always bring that up, and people are like, Wichita, Kansas? And I'm like, yep, it was the first one I ever saw. It's called Bosom Buddies.
Yep, and there's, I was going to say, several in Kansas City, and, but yeah, I don't know, I think that's the only one I know of in Wichita. But anyway, so, yeah, it's a very odd sort of like power structure. I'd say that, like, it's everywhere. I mean, obviously, but it is very visible. That sort of like trifecta of government, employer, and law enforcement, sort of having like a stranglehold on the working class, basically, and the underclass as well. Basically, just anyone who just isn't them.
Yeah. Well, thanks for calling in. I really appreciate it. We got a couple more calls to go, and we're getting close to the end here. But I do appreciate the stories, man.
Yeah, man. Have a wonderful evening, y'all.
You too. Man, I hate the fucking police, the bosses, the employers, and the state government. That's the thing he said is a trifecta. I'm like, it's like the axis of evil.
To fuck you up. Get all your money.
The axis of evil.
All right, let's see. We got 3 more to go. Let's make them quick and dirty. Thanks for calling Street Fight. Who are we talking to?
Hey, fellas. It's Caleb, the Raptor guy.
What's up, Raptor? Dude, your phone sounds good this week, Caleb.
What was that?
Your phone sounds good.
Oh, okay, good. I've called in the past. I was like out in the middle of nowhere in Wyoming, but now I'm in an actual apartment in a town, a little more civilized.
Okay.
But, yeah, today I'm back in Oregon, and I am helping run a raptor trapping blind and a hawk count that I was doing right around a year ago now.
Okay, that's cool.
And, yeah, and... actually, so I was posting in the Facebook group, and one of us showed up to where I was working today, and I got to show Julia, one of our little. So there's a species we catch a lot of called a sharpshin hawk, and they're tiny little guys. They're like the size of a beer bottle.
Oh, okay.
And so yeah, I got to show her one of those, and it was cool. So it's like a real life human connection was made because of the the number one anarcho comedy radio show in any station across the nation.
It's
so
beautiful.
That was pretty cool to have happen today.
When people meet up when these meetups happen, it just warms my heart so much. Never thought I'd be the catalyst for so many great people meeting each other, you know?
Yeah, it was cool because like I was working, and it's in a trapping blind. It's a little sensitive. You got to be quiet or whatever. But we were able to have a good conversation about a lot of stuff. Julia works in the grape wine industry, and I don't know. I guess I could work in the potential pest control industry of the future, because the pesticides of the future aren't more chemicals; it's more birds.
That's a good idea. I love it. You're gonna train like a whole. You're gonna have like an attack team to get those pesky bugs, so that way they don't come rolling through my neighborhood and spraying all those sprays all over me for the mosquitoes.
Yeah.
I like it.
Okay, so I just wanted to real quick get that out. Julia came up to the butte, and it was awesome. But one thing I wanted to talk about, that I was hiking up to the observation point one morning, and I was wearing my old Dale Earnhardt stocking cap that I stole from my dad.
Okay.
And I realized that NASCAR, like everything that was good about NASCAR plays directly into what is also good about professional wrestling. Because in professional wrestling, you have baby faces and heels. And you have the guys who are supposed to win, and the guys who, get jeered and hissed booed off the stage, because instead of cheating in a wrestling match, you crash the other driver on the last lap.
Right.
And so there's so many countless instances in the past. So the most famous one is the first ever televised NASCAR race. I wish I could remember who they were, but NASCAR they go on this whole thing where they're proud of their heritage, where, back in the day in the Prohibition era, we had a bunch of bootleggers running liquor or running moonshine from North to South Carolina, and that's how the good old boys got together and decided, hey, what if we race legally? And so NASCAR was, probably a bunch of Confederate racists or whatever, but we can excuse that part for the sake of the story for now. And the first ever televised race, it's at Daytona in Florida, which is, Confederate flag waving crowd heaven.
Wild ass place.
And, Florida is wild. And so on the last lap of the first televised race, the drivers who are in first and second place, they crash each other, and they both crash, and neither one wins the race. And the guy, Richard Petty, who's actually a big shithead. I've actually heard, Richard Petty he's considered, quote unquote, the king of NASCAR because he's won so many races and so many championships. Uh-huh. But I think he's got a Twitter account, and I just remember him saying a lot of really bad racist stuff, especially about the Colin Kaepernick things. But anyways, he wins the race in the infield of the racetrack on the first televised race of this sport. The two drivers that crashed each other are their helmets are off, their gloves are off, and they're trying to knock each other out. It's a bare knuckle. It's like a bare knuckle boxing match.
That is pretty exciting. Yeah, that is a great sport.
I once saw a motorcycle demolition derby live. I went to these truck pools, which are the worst. I thought it was monster trucks, but it was truck pools. And whatever, it's trucks being loud. It's fine. But during the halftime of the truck pooling contest, they had a motorcycle demolition derby where guys would just run into each other. And they weren't hitting each other hard, but they would run into the other guy's bike, and then they would jump off and start fighting with each other. And it was fucking the best thing I've ever seen. And I wish I could see more of those.
Yeah, it's so amazing because there are other races back in the 90s when I was a kid and was in love with NASCAR. I loved Jeff Gordon, and Dale Earnhardt was, he was the heel. Dale Earnhardt was the quintessential heel of the entire sport. He had the nickname The Intimidator, and it's because you know, oh, if you're in first place with like 5 laps to go and the black 3 shows up in your rearview mirror, you're out of luck, kid. You're not winning this race. And
right.
It's because he would just like crash you.
Yeah, it's a carny sport too. Like it's a carny sport.
He would catch you and crash you.
Yeah.
But it's not like that anymore, which is depressing because, you know, NASCAR figured out that more people live in California than anywhere else, and so they got a bunch of really bland and boring, like corporate suck up, just nothing burgers men to race these cars. But yeah, like Dale Earnhardt, I just like listen to other podcasts like Your Kickstarter Sucks, and like they make Dale Earnhardt jokes, and it's like, I mean, the way he died is rather unfortunate.
Like he lived.
Unlike
actually.
the last one. Yeah, he died like he lived, exactly. But Dale Earnhardt and Tony Stewart and Jeff Gordon were like the last of the carny generation of NASCAR. And
oh yeah,
because
one of my exes was really big into it. They used to meet every week for NASCAR, and they all had favorite drivers, and they would have like, you know, they would all have these theories about him. Like, I'd just like to have a beer with him, you know. I don't know how I trust his driving, but you know, he seems like a real interesting guy. You know, you just get caught up in his characters.
Well, hey, Caleb.
Yeah, right.
Sorry, man. We got to get these last 2 calls in. Where are we at?
Yeah, no problem, guys. I'm stoked to get on the show this week. I'll get down the hill sooner next time. But yeah, have a nice night, guys.
Yeah.
Hey, man.
And if you want to go, looking at birds, he's the guy to talk to. If you're in the area.
That's true. I'm posting on the Facebook group.
Okay.
So
Yeah. So if
I'll post more pictures.
If you want to get into the Facebook group, you can do that by sending a message to the page. Just message us on Patreon, message us on Facebook, ask for the link. We'll get it to you. Let's get these calls in. Everybody's going to get answered tonight. We answer all the calls, every single call. Thanks for calling Street Fight. Who are we talking to?
What's up, boys? It's Ben from Ithaca.
What's up, Ben from Ithaca? You got to get on the bingo card. Ben from Ithaca.
I got to get on what?
You got to be on the bingo card now. You might have made it onto the bingo card.
I'm going to put that on my to-do list to formalize this bingo thing.
I've been trying too hard to get on the bingo card, though. It's like, I feel like I'm too much of a try-hard.
Well, you call in, and if you're calling in, then that's a bingo, baby. What if? How will you feel when you get a call and somebody else bingo when you call in? Like you're the reason they won.
I just don't want to I don't want to like steal valor from people who need to say things. You know, my shit's always boring. I don't want to be the person who like steals something from someone else.
Well, you have done it now. No, I mean, there's only one more call on the line. We're in the last 20 minutes of the show. This thing's going to time out perfectly.
Hell yeah. Just like last time, I just called to listen because I don't have Wi-Fi at home. But like, I'll say some bullshit for like 5 minutes. Is that all right?
Sure, let's hear it. Let's see what you got.
I heard someone talking about DUIs earlier, and I just kind of wanted to like punch in because I've talked about my kind of like legal problems on the Facebook group, and they all stem from having a DUI.
Oh yeah, that's rough.
Yeah, it's rough. I'm still in that mindset where it's like it's my fault. I mean, I don't think that mindset will ever go away because I drove drunk, right?
I mean, but how drunk were you? Can I ask how much you drank?
I was like moderate. Okay, honestly, I was moderately drunk compared to how. Can I tell the story?
Yeah, absolutely. If you feel okay telling the story, you're more than welcome to tell the story.
All right, so I was like walking home from the bar one night, drinking with my friends, and I was moderately drunk compared to how I usually was. And I walked past a kid who was like, "Oh shit, you scared me!" And he was sitting in the rain because he was homeless, and he was someone I grew up with. And I went home and started drinking more, and then I got in my car and drove back because like I recognized a kid in my small hometown who was homeless, who I hadn't seen since I was like 12, and I tried to give him money. I like drove drunk to him, and it was like 20 feet away from where I lived.
Oh.
And I like begged them to let me. No, it's a really bad idea, right? But like, you know, like I was like very psyched on being drunk and very psyched on helping someone because it was just
you can't drive like
someone.
that.
No, I mean, I wasn't driving very well, but I was driving, so I guess I could drive that way. But I like gave him I tried to give him a ride to like somewhere he could stay, and I got pulled over for it. And
pulled over for what?
Well, I was drunk and driving someone home.
Okay, so driving over the center line. Going too
slow? So like there was a couple reasons. Like where I got pulled over, I was like driving over the center line, but I was turning left in a place, and my turns have like the one thing I got like marked for on my driving test when I was young was like turning too wide. And I turned really wide, and I was also drunk. And that was like what I originally got pulled over for. But I was really riding dirty because I had like it was like an uninspected car. It was like a month out of date.
Yeah, that's a recipe for disaster.
Yeah. But it was after 2 a.m.
Right, that's when they're looking for people.
Yeah, and I don't know. I tried to really fluff up the like sympathy story of how I was like driving a kid I knew when I was 12 home, who was homeless.
Yeah,
and it didn't work at all. And
it made
I got
you sound
arrested.
drunker. I can guarantee it made you sound more drunk. You're like, I saw a kid. Man, he was like 12 years old when I knew him. And the cop was just like, all right, walk a straight line.
No, they made me take like 4 more drunk tests than like usual, and I was so sure I passed them. And then I saw a cop walking toward me with handcuffs, and I was like, what's going on? I thought I passed all of these.
Oh, no. I'm sorry. I don't mean to laugh at that, but it's like, I could see
you should laugh at it.
I could see being trashed and be like, well, I did it. Yeah, I win. I got this.
No, I'm like even thinking of it now, I'm not drunk right now. I'm not as drunk as I was then, and even then I was like half drunk. And I was like so sure I passed that test.
What was the test? Can I ask you what the tests were that you did?
There was a couple of them. There was like I had to walk in a straight line. I had to like follow the like pen in front of my face.
Oh, I hate that one.
And there was a couple more. They were very like physical tests, so I can't remember because
you were drunk.
It was like June 2nd. I was pretty drunk.
Okay.
I wasn't as drunk as I usually am.
Not as drunk as usual,
Shouldn't have been driving drunk.
Yeah.
Like, I'll be honest with you guys. Like, if I was drunk, I would admit to you I was drunk. I already got the fucking arrest. But,
I don't think you should have been out there.
You probably shouldn't have been driving.
I shouldn't have been driving at all. I got the ticket, and I got the arrest. I don't think I should have been driving.
It's not worth the risk, dude. How fucking expensive is it?
It's pretty expensive. The preliminary tickets were like the regular fine was almost $1,000. I have to pay. Well, tomorrow I'm going to my first class, and it's going to be $250. And there's like surcharges on it. There are at least $300 of surcharges. And I had to pay nearly $90 for my conditional license. So it's to the point where it like really ruined my life. I mean,
yeah,
it's not a thing that I'm like where I'm like, why the fuck did this happen to me? Because I obviously drove drunk in a stupid way. But
yeah, that sucks.
It's really crazy.
Yeah,
it's
not
like
worth
my
the
first.
risk. You gotta like when you get that all riled up with that energy, you just gotta be like, I'm gonna walk there, and then you start walking, and they get like 2 or 3 blocks away, and you're like, I'm just gonna go back home. I think.
But he wasn't even 2 or 3 blocks away. He was literally 80 feet from my house, and I jumped in my car because it was cold.
Jesus, that's Well, life is about learning, and growth and turning over a new leaf. That sucks.
No, I feel that.
That really does suck.
My dad had like 3 or 4 DUIs, and these were in the 90s. There were actually a couple times where the cops just drove my dad home when he was driving drunk.
Yeah, I've
and
heard
towed his car.
that.
And I was on that energy. I was on that drunk dad energy. I was like, this is what's going to happen. And it didn't, because it shouldn't have happened. But hey, whatever.
Yeah, that sucks.
Anyways, I'm a bad person.
You're a good person, right? Ben. You're a good person. Don't let people tell you you're bad.
You made a very stupid mistake.
You made a bad mistake, but you're a good boy. All right, Ben.
I'm a good boy.
We got to get this last call in. And
have a good night, guys.
We'll talk to you next week.
Right.
Maybe, if you call. It just depends.
All right, let's see who's last call tonight on Street Fight. Hey,
hello?
How's it going?
Good, man. Oh, my gosh. I can't believe I made it.
You did. We said we were getting everybody.
Yeah. Hell yeah. What's going on tonight? You smoking weed?
Yeah. I'm actually closing at work right now.
Oh,
oh wow.
Well, and yeah, I mean, I'm pretty lit, but
What's the job?
Pizza man.
Oh, the best jobs in the world. Not really the best paying job, but you work with the best people.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah. This is my first job, and it's been 3 years, so now I kind of run the place, so that's really chill. Sort of.
Is it a chain or is it independent pizza shop?
It's it's like a family-owned pizza restaurant. It's one guy, the CEO dude.
Okay.
And it's funny. So I work. I'm in Silicon Valley, the town called Los Gatos, and it's an incredibly, insanely rich town.
Okay.
And so I actually drive by this guy's house on my way to work all the time. I know where he lives. He lives in a huge mansion.
Okay.
So anyway.
That sucks. It's your boss's house you're passing?
So he's got what?
It's your boss's house?
Yeah. So he owns it's 25 stores. It's based in the Bay Area, but it goes down south to Isla Vista, Santa Barbara, and so it's pretty big store.
Yeah,
it's pretty big small chain. It's crazy.
And is it good? Is your boss a dick?
I've never met the guy.
Hell yeah.
Okay.
The CEO, he's come in a couple times and stuff. I mean, he seems chill, but I've had the regional managers here, I've had tons of problems with.
Oh, really?
It's hilarious.
Regional managers are the worst. I will say that.
Yeah. They're it's funny because, and so we're so technically, I guess the company's headquarters is in a, it's at on the boss's property, right?
Okay.
So they're always in our town, and we're the closest store. So whenever the big guy orders pizza, we're bringing it to his house and stuff because we're the close store.
Does he order pizza a lot?
Not a lot, a couple times a year.
I was gonna say, if this guy's ordering pizza every week from his own shop, it's come on, dude. But I guess if it's your place, then you're making it.
Technically, I get whatever. But no, the regionals though, I have a great story. So a couple years ago when I was first starting, right? I was working here, and then I had a buddy that worked at this coffee shop, and there was one of his coworkers at the coffee shop ended up dating one of the regional managers, and so one day she came into the store, and I was just starting out, and she got a salad, and I just was oh, you're dating the regional manager, so free salad. Just let her walk out with the salad, and then a minute later, we get a call, and I was with my manager at the time, and he's that was the regional manager, and he's pissed. He wants me to write you up for this. So I got written up for stealing by giving a regional manager's girlfriend a salad.
Whoa, was it a setup?
I don't know.
How many setups are going on in these fucking regional managers?
I don't know. I didn't get, like, in any real trouble, but basically, like, I got, I don't know. I got, like...
Why is that not cool? Like, if my wife, if I'm the regional manager and my wife comes in for a salad, it's just like, nah, we don't even gonna charge her for that.
Yeah, I was very confused because I did it, like, I think because, like, some people were giving pizza to the people at the coffee shop, and they thought I was doing that, but I was like, it's your girlfriend. Like, it's your girlfriend. What the hell?
Yeah, we won't talk about that.
Yeah.
We're not going to report this on the sheet. Funny. That's fucked up.
Yeah, but anyway.
Stupid.
Fuck that.
But
it is late.
Anyway,
it is late. I'm feeling that way, too.
Yeah. It's fucking whatever. But, hey, I got to say, the pizza life is good, though.
Best job. It's the best shitty job you can get.
Yeah. No, exactly. I remember hearing, like, on some podcast, someone said, like, the pizza life, it's like if you just want a job where you can just kind of like turn your brain off and do it and then just like smoke a ton of weed, that's the job.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, we had an issue. We watched an episode of Undercover Boss with Donato's, and one of the stupid-ass delivery drivers told this CEO that sometimes at the end of the night, if there isn't a bunch of orders, if kids invite him in on campus to smoke weed, he'll indulge.
Mm-hmm.
And she went haywire on him.
He said it to the undercover boss because he's a dingus. You should never tell someone you're training.
And you know what she said?
No.
You know, she slipped so quickly, too. She said, you know what I would do if you were my delivery driver? I'd fire you immediately. Yeah. And it's like, why are you talking like that, lady? You're supposed to be a trainee.
Yeah, you're suddenly putting yourself above. Oh, my gosh. And also, like, that's an unwritten rule of pizza delivery.
That's how pizza gets delivered, right? Weed is what makes pizza get delivered.
Yeah,
and probably the band High on Fire.
Yeah.
Or classic rock.
Sleep's from here.
Oh, Sleep.
Hey.
Yeah, classic rock is probably also a thing.
Al helped me move into one of my houses one time.
That's cool.
Al from Sleep, yeah, Los Cisneros, he's awesome. But no, what was I going to say? Oh, yeah, no, like, I've had, like, for one of the best tips I got was one time I, like, delivered to, like, this hotel in town, and there was just, like, a bunch of, like, electrician guys in a room together, and they just had, like, you know, a couple of, like, big bottles of Hennessy, and they were just, like, ordering, like, $100 worth of pizza, and the dude gave me, like, $20, and then he grabbed, like, I've never seen a jar this big, like, the long jars, just full of some kush, and he just, like, handful of kush, maybe, like, 6 grams of kush. It was awesome.
Damn.
I'm about to hit some
hookup.
Yeah, no.
That is a hookup.
I've delivered to, like, houses up here one time where, like, I've seen, like, people, like, cleaning, like, trimming buds on the table and shit.
Yeah, I mean, that seems pretty common.
Yeah, no. It's like, we're up in the mountains over here, like Santa Cruz mountain area, is a bunch of weed. It's crazy.
Hell yeah. Well, thanks for calling. We gotta get out of here. We're running out of time.
Yeah. Thanks for, oh my God, I can't believe I made it on. You have a good day.
Thanks for calling in. We appreciate it. Folks, we're going to keep it under 3 hours. Can you believe it? We're not going to get there. We're not going to make you listen to 3 hours of radio, just 2 hours and 56 minutes. Thanks for listening to Street Fight Radio. If you want more of what we do, head to streetfightradio.com. You can find us on social media at Street Fight WCRS on Twitter, Facebook, Tumblr, Instagram, Snapchat, all of those. You can also watch the live feed of the show every single Sunday on twitch.tv/StreetFightRadio or youtube.com/StreetFightWCRS. We now have a fully unified chat, so everybody watching the stream can talk shit together. There's a lot of good stories that are going on in the chat right now, so get involved, get listening to Street Fight every single Sunday night. We are on the, Pacifica Radio Network, part of the... We are in the Free Press Studios, 92.7, 98.3 here in Columbus, Ohio. Thank you for tuning in. We are Street Fight. Peace.
I got all them farts, man.
I really want some White Castles.
Busting ass over here, like.
I really gotta get a White Castle.
You gotta get White Castle. I gotta get home. I probably gotta eat like a pizza bagel maybe or something.
Pizza bagel, that sounds good.